back. Good morning, happy Tuesday, everybody. I started a couple minutes late today because I was reading a storybook. Not me. I wasn't reading the storybook. It's a picture book. And did I want to see the pictures? You're goddamn right. I didn't want to see the pictures. And I'm going to show you. This is how we're going to kick things off today.
Can Santa see in the dark? Does he wear night vision goggles that make everything green? I bet he'd like that because Santa likes green. Or heat vision goggles because he might like red better. Should we leave out carrots?
Don't show the kids the pictures. This poor girl.
Cookies on Christmas Eve, since they're good for his eyesight? No, the twinkling lights on the tree will make enough light for Santa to see, tiptoeing past chairs without bumping his knee, to leave a present or two or three, and get a kiss from the dog, if it's a dog that licks, and take a cookie for two or three, and then leave.
I don't even know what this book is. Did she say the dog leaks? Licks?
And take a
Is that licks?
If it's a dog that licks.
Licks. That makes more sense. Okay.
And take a cookie for two or three, and then leave. Santa goes up the chimney the same way he comes down, and I have no idea how Santa does that. But I'm so glad he can.
Doesn't show a single picture. That's cool. That's our first lady. That's so cool. That's so cool. I saw somebody on Fox the other day complaining that this first lady doesn't give enough attention, and they're like, but she's so pretty. How come nobody ever talks about how pretty she is? Like, that's the only thing anybody ever talks about. I think that's the only thing we have going for her. I don't remember what Laura Bush did. I don't remember much about those years with the first lady, so I don't know. It's gonna be a weird show. This is such a weird country. It sucks. But welcome everybody. Before we jump into that, I want to tell you all good morning, Jen. Good morning. You hear me? Your maternal instinct is off the charts. Can we just talk about how?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, it's morning.
Good morning. Did you enjoy that book reading we had there?
Oh yeah, it made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Like Christmas is just around the corner.
You don't have feelings that you may want to see a doctor. If you feel anything, that is a medical emergency.
I mean, we already know I'm dead inside, so that's okay. That's not news.
That's why I'm concerned that you're feeling things today.
No, I'm not feeling things. I am dragging ass this morning, so.
Okay. I thought you said, sorry, never mind.
I don't want to know what you thought I said.
I thought you said I was.
I don't want to know what you thought
I heard dry in ass. That's what I heard. What the fuck is that? All right. Sorry. Someone else had to have heard. Other people are confirming they heard that too. Okay, good.
Sure. You guys are just all looking to be timed out today or muted, whatever. And that's what I'm hearing. So
yeah. I did see that wasn't me. I saw that Jasmine Crockett decided to try and run for Senate, and she does not have my endorsement over James Tallarico. I saw her fumble the Israel question so bad about taking AIPAC money that she's not very high up on my list anymore. I think she's had I think this is a terrible launch. She's had a horrific launch to get things going. She had that weird thing where she put out some tweet with like the wrong Jeffrey Epstein, and then they're like, "You got that wrong." She's like, "I didn't say it was that Jeffrey Epstein. That was a huge fumble." I mean, I guess we can be honest. I don't want to pile on, but I wasn't even going to talk about it to be because I'm a little heartbroken by Jasmine Crockett, if we're being honest. But since you brought it up, we'll talk about it. She had a rapper yesterday that was. Let me see if I can find the rap song. That was incredibly awkward. Did you guys see that? I don't know what she's. I don't know. This is whoever's advising her, whoever's doing this thing. They're struggling. I mean, the Republicans just had a field day with her yesterday on Twitter.
Let's get into it.
It's only coming out my left headphone here.
Okay. She ain't never scared and she ain't never been. Who is willing to go toe-to-toe against the president? I can't wrap my head around someone who votes Republican. She advocate for feeding kids. They protect folks touching them. Trump invading his own country with our army. What a joke.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't want to pile on as I pile on. I'm just so devastated. I'm just honestly... I've liked Jasmine. This has just been mangled. She has just bumbled all of this. This is
remember
tough.
Pearl Harbor by illegally bombing boats, but y'all thought we wasn't gonna do nothing but thinking.
Like, if you're gonna do the rap, don't read it. Can't be reading it while you're like off of your phone from a podium. Pretty low energy. I move on. Okay. I am moving on. I'm just hurt.
You realize we can't see that, right?
Oh shit, I forgot. Sorry, I forgot I switched it. It's worse. Sorry.
Listen, thought I told y'all we ain't never scared. Now look who name on the docket. Got 2 words for every racist bigot. Jasmine Crockett.
And then lost it. Like we didn't even. It's his own audio. Like I don't know. This is tough.
Y'all hear the words. Me, I hope my money goes to side that isn't trying to say affordability's a hope. She stand on business, all 10 toes. Texas dope, don't need no more bad bill.
All right, like, I mean, I've liked her. I do appreciate that she fights. She doesn't back down. I can show you though. I mean, this is just I can't say that like taking APAC money is disqualifying, and then when it's Jasmine Crockett, it's no big deal. Let's see if I can even find this. We got a civil war brewing in the chat today. We got some people here that are big on. Is this it? Talrico did say he's not taking APAC money, but let me see. Where did I see that clip? Oh, actually, it wasn't about APAC. Excuse me. It was about Israel, giving Israel money. I think my search is probably incorrect.
I understand. I also think that if people are going
Yeah, they did gerrymander her out of a job.
To vote as it relates to foreign affairs, which typically is not how people vote. People typically vote based on how are the gas prices treating me right now? How are my housing costs treating me right now? What's my job situation looking like? Those are the things that typically drive our elections and how people decide how they're going to vote. When you start talking about foreign affairs, if that is going to be kind of like the precipice for determining whether you vote or who you vote for, then I want people to really dig in to foreign affairs, right? Like, and ask the question, which I think is a fair question. I think it's a fair question of all the money, is to ask the question of, well, why do we send money to Israel? Like, what is that about? And learn about the fact that this is an allyship that existed before I was around, before, well, no, the president was a baby. He was still around though.
I mean, I don't know. It's the easiest political win you could possibly take right now is to say we're not going to fund Israel. So to see what Israel's done, to know that like your constituency is going to appreciate that like that's a winning message, and then to not take it, I don't know. I have no idea who's advising her. Maybe this is just her true feelings. What she's telling people. Yeah, I think she is saying that she likes it. You don't think she's saying? Am I misinterpreting that? Like, I can go back. We can play it. I'll go back and watch it. I don't think she has denounced AIPAC. I don't think she's saying. I mean, what's important about that relationship? To me, what she's saying is, if you're going to criticize it, that's fine, but you got to go deeper and figure out what it is. Like, what is it though? Welcome everybody from the Facts Raid. Yeah, that's what I think she's doing, Kara. I agree with you. I think she's trying to walk a thin line, and I think that either she's taking bad advice or she's choosing to walk a thin line that she doesn't have to. I don't think that you need to walk a thin line with Israel. I don't. Maybe in Texas, I don't know. But what did Tallarico say about it? Did he mention her getting in the race? Didn't see that. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'm with you there, Chopper.
For y'all, lots of news in the race today. On behalf of all of us, I want to welcome Congresswoman Crockett into the Democratic primary race. I chose to run for the honor of being your next U.S. Senator because working people deserve someone who knows how to fight and knows how to win in Washington. We always knew this was going to be hard, and I am so proud of what we've built so far. We've shattered grassroots fundraising numbers. We've built an infrastructure of 10,000 volunteers just like all of you who are already putting in the work to win in November. I am so proud of the community and the culture we've built here at Team Tallarico. We have always maintained that we are pro our campaign, not anti anyone else's. We will make the case for why we are best positioned to win this race in November and take power back for working people. But we will always treat Congresswoman Crockett with the utmost respect. She is my colleague and she is a leader in our state. She deserves nothing less. So now is the time. Please sign up to Phone Bank, send texts, learn how to host block walks. Let's go win this thing. Thank y'all.
Yeah, classy. That's what we expect out of Tallarico. There's no surprise there. He's good at this because like that's who he is. You don't see like the facade slip with him. I legitimately just think that's who he is. I just think he's a very well-intentioned, kind, empathetic person. So I think he's great. That's who I would have who would have my support if I was in Texas. But bumbled start to Crockett. Maybe she can gain some ground there. I just don't know why she wouldn't run for. I mean, is she completely? I haven't seen what her district looks like. I don't know if it's like completely red now. If she could even have a chance to run there, I don't think she's going to beat Tallarico. But maybe she'll move into media. She'd be good in media. Be more progressive candidates than both of them. Yeah, I agree. But that's actually a good segue into this. The Mossad is they're now criticizing J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance can't catch a fucking break. He puts his foot in his mouth every 5 seconds. And now I don't know why they're going after J.D. Vance and not Trump, because Trump said, I'm not going to allow Israel to take over the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. They're not just going to get to occupy that land or I guess take that land, seize that land, not occupy, because they're occupying. And the Zionists in Israel are very upset about this.
But you said something, Mr. Prime Minister, Vice President, that is not accurate. You said the policy of the Trump administration is that the West Bank will not be annexed by Israel. That will continue to be our policy. Mr. Vice President, we love you. We love you and we love America. But there's something you have to understand. The policy of the God.
He hasn't even said it yet. Trump, this is why I can't stand Zionists. They know that what he's about to say is, our book means that we get to do whatever the fuck we want. They all know. He hasn't even said it yet. He's already getting cheers because they know they're just about to justify genocide here.
Who birthed America, and the policy of the God who gave these people this land is in fact.
By the way, this is from the Mossad. Like, this is the Mossad X broadcasting this. So they put this up.
That Judea and Samaria is Bible land. It's Bible land. And we have 66 reasons, Mr. Vice President, why it's Bible land.
We get it. It's ours. Our book said so. Standing ovation. Like, Zionists can kiss my ass, man. Make these people fight. Send them into fight.
The 66 books of this Bible.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that, Mystic. I guess God actually gave it to Mystic Mimic. I was unaware of that. Somebody ought to tell the Zios.
80% of the Bible stories come out of Judea and Samaria, Mr. Vice President. And here in Shiloh.
And 80% of the Harry Potter stories come out of Hogwarts. Like, it doesn't matter. It's all fiction. It's fine.
Was the spot. This was the capital of Israel. This is where the Samuel was and the tabernacle was. It was all right here. We're grateful.
That's a good point. Percy Jackson proves Greek gods exist. Great points. A lot of great points in the chat today.
That America is getting the illegals out of America. We're supporting that. But don't pressure Israel.
Just like Jesus wanted. Just exactly how Jesus wanted. Get the illegals out. And let the Israelis do a genocide. That's what the book says.
To give illegal, radical Islam Jew haters Judea and Samaria. After they have committed thousands of terrorist attacks in Judea and Samaria.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck's going on here. Who are these people? Who are all these people gathered? What was this for? Just so they could stand up and scream about how some magic book gives them the right to murder people, and then standing ovation, hands up. Yeah, I don't even know what we're watching, Heidi. This is what the Mossad account posted on Twitter. Apparently, they thought that was very important for us to see. They're talking about, yeah, it is the IDF. All right, I came across this morning, and I gotta admit, I did not think this was a very good video at first. I thought there were a lot of explanations. This is Nerdy Pink Panda 1. Nerdy Pink Panda 1 going through some of the Epstein emails and found this little ditty.
Did I
bad time for Diddy. Well, actually, it might be the right time for Diddy. I don't know.
just find Marco Rubio texting with Jeffrey Epstein bragging about beating out Jeb Bush? I think allegedly I have. February 3rd, 2016. Message to Jeffrey Epstein. Hi, Jeffrey. I got more votes than Jeb Bush got in Iowa, and I only had one congressional district. He had 4! ! It's so funny. To me. Totally embarrassing to him. Still like Trump congressional delegate and might be a delegate to the Republican convention. Went into St. Thomas for a couple of days. Did call this island, but never heard back. Went scuba diving off St. Jeff, and it was beautiful. Would be totally funny, to me at least, if you put a big fake shark or statue under the water where the divers go. Jeffrey replied with a one-word answer, great. And the subject is, I beat Bush. Well, if we look at the 2016 Iowa caucus, we see that a lot of people beat Jeb Bush. And that email definitely didn't sound like somebody who was celebrating winning Iowa. And since it was referencing Trump, we know it's not him. So that leaves us either Rand Paul, Ben Carson, or Marco Rubio. By Epstein's lukewarm response to this email, it doesn't seem like it was somebody that he was really rooting for. Which is why when he emails Kathy Rumler, you were right, Rubio looks better, which makes me think that that was who he was talking to. And this email saying that it was embarrassing for Jeb Bush might be because his former mentor was Jeb Bush. And Rubio spent a lot less money on ads. And remember, Rubio was a state senator for Florida. And Marco Rubio dined with Donald Trump the day before he announced that he was appointing Alex Acosta as the labor secretary. Alex Acosta and he are good buddies that go way back. And not only was Marco Rubio a big supporter of Acosta for his 2017 nomination, but he continued to voice his support for him even after the demands for his resignation went in 2019. He was one of the few people that said he shouldn't resign. And if this is Marco Rubio, which I highly suspect I am correct, he signed the letter with "Love ya, I need wine." So not only is this person...
Is that what that really is? I need. Is that what INW is? I know I'm a millennial boomer here. Is that what that is? Here's my thoughts. I think that that's either Marco Rubio or it could be one of the 4 people elected to Congress in Iowa that year, which would be Steve King, David Young, Dave Loebsack. Loebsack? Good Lord. You guys got somebody in Iowa named Loebsack? Or Rod Bloom. Those are the only other ones that would make sense, that, like, for them saying they have 1 district and he had 4, because there's 4 districts in Iowa. It's either Marco Rubio or one of them. My guess.
Comfortable enough to cold call the island to see if Jeff's around, but messages him like they're one of the Real Housewives.
I don't know. I really hope it's Marco Rubio, but it might not be. I tend to think that it's probably one of the members of Congress, and this is why probably these Epstein files are taking so long to come out. They got to scrub a whole lot of names before. I think we're at day 20 now, maybe day 21, that we still don't have them after the discharge petition was signed. I believe they get 30 days. Let's start off. No, I'm not giving nobody no money. All right, Rickster. Thanks, bud. Everybody else, make sure that Rickster doesn't give anybody any money today. But if you want to help our show, we are crowdfunded, and be more than happy to take your donations. The gift goes up there. You know how to send it. That's how we keep the lights on every day and get make sure that Jen doesn't quit. All right, that's the fun stuff. The rest of today's show isn't going to be that great. And I want to start off with a reminder from the Todd Blanche interview with Maxwell. For example, Blanche asked Maxwell whether people around Epstein, including the numerous high-profile and powerful men who had known him, were associating with him for the purpose of sexual encounters. In her reply, Maxwell said that some of the cast of characters around Epstein were in your cabinet who you value as your coworkers. That would align with that video saying that it was Marco Rubio. And despite the fact that Maxwell had just openly mentioned Epstein associates as being in Trump's current cabinet, Blanche, a hardened lawyer not known for missing a trick in trial argument, didn't pause to ask Maxwell to identify the cabinet members she was referring to or ask any follow-up question whatsoever. Is it the 19th? Is that when it's supposed to come out? Is that when we're expected to see the Epstein files? That could be why Trump is on this crusade right now. He's going out. He's doing a bunch of interviews. He's starting to campaign for the midterms, and they are in full force. They are just in full lie mode. And they're in full lie mode because things aren't going very well. We're going to talk today a little bit about the bailout to the farmers, which we all saw coming, which isn't going to make them whole. We're going to talk a little bit about a new presidential memorandum that is absolutely terrifying. We're going to talk a little bit about, if I'm going down here, the right-wing civil war that's happening that isn't helping Donald Trump at all. And then we're going to talk about weird wives from MAGA, which is weirdly a theme on Twitter today, and on I'm trying to make it a theme on Blue Sky, and it's going to be a theme today. And then we're going to get into how the markets are being rigged by Donald Trump and these billionaire douchebags. So, wish farmers would understand how much socialism they get. Yeah, all of it. They get all the socialism. Burned Out Medic said, "Here's some money, so screw Rickster. Take that, dude." Hey Howdy says, "Starting early, choo choo." Thank you very much. And Ryan said, "For the dollar train." Appreciate you guys. I think that's it for announcements. I don't think we have any announcements this week. I'm not planning on any events this week. We may do some. I'm not going to do debates tomorrow night. I'm scheduling some meetings, planning out some future events. So no debates tomorrow night. Members only event will be on Monday. I've narrowed it down to 3 different options. And I'm going to present those options in the Discord for what we want our next movie night to be. So we'll talk about that. All right. Let's talk about the EPA. This is according to ProPublica. Donald Trump filled almost his entire cabinet with lobbyists, people that come from industries, and then like Sean Duffy, for example, who was a airline lobbyist, and now he's there, and he's supposed to represent us. And he's supposed to represent us, kind of not, I wouldn't say against the airlines, but he is supposed to represent our views. He doesn't do that. The EPA is what's the EPA guy's name? EPA Lee Zeldin, who is an oil lobbyist. He's already rolling back a bunch of provisions when it comes to PFAS, the forever chemicals, and air quality regulations. And now this. Under former chemical industry insiders, Trump EPA nearly doubles amount of formaldehyde considered safe to inhale. Why did these all change? Industry lobbyists have long pushed the federal government to adopt a less stringent approach to gauging the cancer risk for chemicals, one that would help ease regulations on companies that make or use them. Last week, in a highly unusual move, the EPA embraced that approach in announcing that it is revising an assessment of the health dangers posed by formaldehyde. I was unaware that formaldehyde was used for so many things. I thought it was just like preserving dead bodies, which was enough for me. Widespread pollutant that causes far more cancer than any other chemical in the air. Working on that effort were two of those former industry insiders who are now top EPA officials. The proposed revisions to the assessment, released Wednesday, nearly double the amount of formaldehyde considered safe to inhale compared with the version that was finalized in the last weeks of the Biden administration. Even that older assessment significantly underestimated the dangers posed by formaldehyde, according to, again, this is ProPublica, the same people that investigated it last year, and said Biden's administration wasn't taking this seriously enough. The thing about Donald Trump is, if you just tell him Obama or Biden did something, he'll reverse it. And that's what we're seeing here. He's hired all of these people in the industry who I'm assuming this, for some reason, cost them money. I'm assuming that this has caused some sort of issue for them where they're either the people that are selling formaldehyde or the people who are using formaldehyde now have to incur new costs because we limit how much formaldehyde they can use. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe some of you do. But if we go on further, the spokesperson described the changes to the formaldehyde assessment as corrections of past scientific mistakes. Through a rigorous peer review process, we determined the Biden administration used flawed analysis in its risk assessment of formaldehyde. We are correcting the record to reflect the best available science and our core statutory obligations. Are they giving us that science? No, they are not. The assessment released under Biden found 58 situations in which workers or consumers face an unreasonable risk to health from formaldehyde, a designation that requires the agency to mitigate it. Among the items that can emit dangerous levels of chemicals, are you guys, by the way, oh, okay, you do have it up. Chemical or automotive care products like car waxes, along with crafting supplies, ink and toner, photographic supplies and fabrics, building materials, textiles, and leather goods. The EPA is reversing the finding that formaldehyde presents an unreasonable risk to health in 5 situations, while leaving dozens more standing. One of those 5 includes the manufacturing of wood products. The agency contends that the level of formaldehyde the EPA now says is acceptable under the revised assessment will protect people from cancer and other harmful effects, which include asthma, miscarriage, and fertility problems. No big deal. It's fine. It'll be fine. But environmental advocates see the Trump administration's reversal on cancer risk as a reflection of industry's influence over the agency. Ironic that we also cut a bunch of cancer funding, like cancer research funding. If you're going to do both of these things, one way that you can make sure that people don't find out that you're poisoning them is also cut the funding for cancer research. That's right. They do love to poison us. That's what one thing corporations maybe do best is just make us sick. For decades, formaldehyde has been at the center of bitter battles between industry and regulators. Why can't I get rid of this? Anybody know? Can I get rid of this? I don't know. Now I don't know which stuff I actually highlighted. Sorry. For decades, the formaldehyde has been at the center of bitter battles between industry and regulators, sometimes described as the backbone of American commerce. The chemical is used in everything from binding particle boards in furniture to serving as a building block in plastic and preserving bodies, and has fierce defenders in many sectors. Our investigation identified significant levels of formaldehyde inside cars, stores, and our homes. ProPublica's analysis of EPA data also determined that in every census block throughout the country, the risk of getting cancer from exposure to formaldehyde in outdoor air over a lifetime is higher than the limit of 1 incidence of cancer in 1 million people. The agency's goal, that's the agency's goal for air pollutants. According to our analysis, some 320 million people, nearly all Americans, live in areas of the U.S. where the lifetime cancer risk from outdoor exposure to formaldehyde is 10 times higher than the agency's ideal. As of last year, official EPA estimates put the average risk from formaldehyde in the air at 20 times higher than the limit. But as our investigation found, that number does not reflect the risk of myeloid leukemia, a potential fatal blood cancer. EPA scientists calculated that risk, but because of internal disputes about its certainty, left it out of their final number. When myeloid leukemia is included, the cancer risk from formaldehyde jumps to 77 times higher than the limit. I think I might have figured out a solution to this. Reloading the page. I knew it. The former EPA veterans feared that the threshold approach to evaluating cancer risk could be applied to ease health-based protections on other carcinogens. This will open the floodgates, Tracy Woodruff, a scientist at the University of California, San Francisco School of Medicine, who worked at the EPA for 13 years. Chemical companies want every carcinogen to be considered a threshold carcinogen, which would allow them to say that their chemicals are safe when we know that that's not true. The agency is in the process of producing risk evaluations for several other potentially cancer-causing chemicals, including 1,2-dichloroethane and 1,3-butadiene, which are used in plastics manufacturing. These decisions are especially consequential because after the EPA finalizes a rule based on the assessment, states are prohibited from issuing their own protections on the same chemical. The Trump administration is also taking aim at the use of the linear approach to cancer from radiation. An executive order issued in May deemed the method of assessing a chemical's cancer risk to be flawed and directed the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to consider adopting new radiation exposure limits. Yeah, maybe we should have more radiation. Maybe that's been the problem all along. Maybe we haven't been getting enough radiation. Maybe we all want to sound like RFK. Project 2025, the blueprint for the Trump presidency, similarly urges the EPA office that handles radiation to reassess the linear approach it has taken to cancer risk from radiation in the past. The EPA press office didn't respond to a question about whether this work is underway. Just another example of, I was thinking about this today too, like Project 2025, I think we often label it as like this Christian nationalist blueprint. But even these Christian nationalists, you can see that they are also owned by corporations. And so taking an approach like this and deregulating and allowing people to die, like that's just part of Project 2025. They tell you it's about Jesus, but really it's just about making sure that the corporations who fund them continue to make money, and they hide behind Jesus. That's what modern day Republican MAGA is. Everything that you think that you believe in, you hide behind Jesus, and you poison people. And it's like it's a kind of a good grift for them, because ultimately Jesus is in charge, right? And for a lot of Christians, they believe that your outcome is already predetermined. We already know how your life is going to end. Jesus already did that. He already paid for all your sins. So what the fuck do you care if you die from a forever chemical? What the fuck do you care if you die from cancer? He already suffered for that. He already knew it was going to happen. That's just part of the plan. That's why I really, really despise religion. It just allows you to be completely convinced that there's this great plan and that all of this stuff that they're doing for corporations is just, God already knew that was happening. And God ordained Donald Trump because the war on Christmas, I believe. I think it's because Jesus was upset that we were in a full war against his birthday. And so now he's sided with massive corporations. Hasn't this been around since like the 80s where churches went right wing? Well, I don't know when that happened. I know when it happened to my church. We had a guy named Ezra Benson who became the leader of the church. He had to actually like go back and apologize for some of his previous views. But Mormons used to be Democrats. They used to be fairly progressive, and then they took a hard shift to the right with Ronald Reagan. Christmas's illegal occupation of November cannot stand. I like that. The purpose of Jesus' teaching is that if everyone acted in love, our experience here will be heaven. Oh, that's much better. Mormons do not have multiple wives. Some of Mormons used to have multiple wives, and then there's like a break off of the church where they have multiple wives. But modern Mormons only have one wife or no wives. A lot of incels, but they also have young wives. That's kind of a thing too. Heritage Foundation, we're behind Reagan too. Yeah. What are you getting mad at me for? What did I do, Bree? Ezra Benson said, you can't be a good Mormon and a Democrat. That's true. I think the streets are paved with cheese. I remember, not gold. Heather said, plus with the Supreme Court overturning Chevron, if we do take back the government, it won't matter. Judges will decide these decisions, not our EPA or scientists. Well, there's more to that. The judges currently are hearing. The Supreme Court yesterday heard a case about essentially what it is does the executive branch have full control over things like the FTC, the FEC? And it seems like that, based on the arguments I heard, I think they're going to side with Trump. I don't think the attorneys. I think they're representing like fired members of the administration. I'm pretty sure that's who they're representing. They didn't have a lot of good answers yesterday. Just listening to the arguments yesterday, I think it's pretty clear the Supreme Court's going to rule with Trump, which is going to pave the way for a key component of Project 2025 to go forward, which is that Trump can install loyalists as these administrators, and then only those administrators can decide whether or not they can be investigated. And of course, you have Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, who only investigate what Trump tells them to investigate. And we've got a real scenario coming up in these midterms and the next election where the Federal Elections Commission is basically going to get to do whatever the fuck they want with no oversight from Congress. It sounds to me like the Supreme Court is saying this is an executive authority, and even though Congress created it and Congress is supposed to have oversight, it seems like the Supreme Court is ready to rule that Congress, even though they created the administrative state, that they don't have oversight. It's alarming. And I got to tell you, like, as far as the arguments go, I just think the attorneys arguing that this can't be advanced did a really, really bad job. And if you're a Republican, it's bizarre that you would be advocating for this. It's a very like what we're advocating for is that the president should just have incredible control over the administrative state, over the bureaucracy. That those checks and balances, the reason we have the FTC, the FEC, the SEC, and the reason that the president, those are a part of the executive branch, is because the president's supposed to appoint people. The president is supposed to represent the will of the majority of the people. So he's allowed to select at least a majority in each of those groups. So the SEC, for example, out of the 5-person panel, he gets to choose 3 of them. So he's always going to have a majority, and that was the way Congress set it up. But Congress is also supposed to have oversight, and it seems to me like the Supreme Court is ready to rule that Congress doesn't have oversight in the administrative state. I'd be very concerned about that if I was anybody, right, left, middle. I don't know why this country we would say the executive, a singular person, has this much control. More conservatives supposed to be about division of power and states' rights. Not anymore. Now they're just all about fascism. Sad Renee, thanks for the super chat. Belinda, also thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you guys. Check over here. There was a dollar train there. Sonia, thanks for joining the dollar train. Or Sonia. Probably said that wrong. Did I get that? Today? Brianna said, what's the most common crime blacksmiths get charged with? forgery. And also, Jen is the most beautiful, sweet, smart, sexy mod mommy ever. Jen, do you have anything to say to that? Just going to stay silent maybe on that one.
Why do you guys gotta say weird shit?
Do you want me to read it again? Jen is the most beautiful, sweet, smart, sexy mod mommy ever.
I heard. My hearing's perfect.
How do you feel about being called mommy?
I mean, someone does call me mommy. She's 11, but
She calls you mommy?
every now and then, yeah.
That's kind of adorable. All right.
She usually she wants something, but
What if you were like in a relationship and they called you mommy?
no, that would be weird.
That'd be weird. That's not, you're not okay with that?
That'd be weird.
What about you saying daddy?
Do you really want to talk about stuff like
I
this?
actually don't want to talk about it. I changed my mind.
I mean,
No, I don't
you're
wanna-
going to be more uncomfortable than me.
Yeah, never
So,
mind. Changed my mind. Have a good
All
day,
right.
Jen. Love you.
All right.
Bye. I hate when she does the Uno reverse. I hate that so much. All right. Is this the story? Chris Murphy put up this video, and I was going to share the Wall Street Journal article that I'm assuming that's where he's getting this information from. But rather than hear me read it, I thought Chris Murphy did a good job. So I'm going to have Chris Murphy break this down. We read part of the Wall Street Journal article the other day, but it's important to remember that like Trump is abandoning our allies and he is doing the work of Russia. And he's not doing it because he's just a cuck. He's not doing it because he's rooting for Russia. He's doing it because he and his friends are going to make a fortune off of this. And they have back channel deals in Russia, and they're selling out human beings so that they can make a bunch of money.
Right now, the most serious corruption of American foreign policy ever is being talked about inside the Trump administration.
Oh, Jackie, those of us who mock Jesus, whatever, what do we do for Christmas? We talk about Santa. That's what we do. And then we just live, and it's fine.
It's being described as a peace plan to end the Russian war in Ukraine. But if you look at the details, it has nothing to do with peace. It is a business deal to make the people around Donald Trump
Lindsay.
rich. It's just corruption through and through. Let me tell you the story. According to the Wall Street
Johnny said I had a feeling Jesus gave me cancer. Well,
Journal, last month, Vladimir Putin sent the head of his sovereign wealth fund to negotiate an end to the Ukraine war with Steve Witkoff, who is one of Trump's billionaire buddies, also one of his national security advisors. They met in Miami Beach. Jared Kushner was there too. Putin didn't send his foreign minister, and this is important. He sent his business deals guy. The guy
and we sent our business deals guy. Be honest, MAGA. Did you know who Steve Witkoff was before this administration? What do you know about Jared Kushner, other than he married Trump's daughter? Why are these two guys the ones negotiating with Kirill Dmitriev? Why aren't these like our ambassadors? Perhaps legislators. Why do we got a bunch of people that all have business deals with Russia negotiating this?
guy who controls the billions of money that are produced by Russia's oil operations. Why do you do that? Because he knows that the way you get Trump's people to agree to sell out Ukraine is to offer up a deal to make Trump's billionaire friends even richer. Here's some of the examples. ExxonMobil right now is in secret discussions with Rosneft, that's Russia's largest state energy company, about a massive gas project in Russia's Far East, something that can only happen if the war is over and sanctions on the company are lifted. Rich Trump donors are right now trying to get in on the action as well. One donor just recently paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to a lobbyist that's really close to Trump's inner circle to try to buy the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. That's a Russian gas pipeline. Once again, something that is only possible for these investors to get rich on if the war is over and the US lifts its sanctions. Another close Trump associate is in talks about acquiring a stake in a Russian Arctic gas project. So that's what Trump's billionaire friends get. But what does Ukraine get? Nothing. Nothing.
Literally nothing. Well, they get to give some of their land to Russia. Where's my MAGA? MAGA, if you're here, I'll look at the comments for a second. Why are we just capitulating to Russia right now? Why are we saying, Russia, you invaded Ukraine, and now we're going to let you keep this land? Why are we doing that? Outside, if what Chris Murphy's saying here, if what the Wall Street Journal's saying here isn't true, if what we're alleging here is that Trump is just doing this to help him and his friends make a bunch of money, give us a better explanation, please. Why in the world are we capitulating to Russia? Any idea? I'm looking. Nothing? Not one of you has an answer for that? It's a tough answer, huh? Tough to figure out why we're just bending over and taking it from Russia. Yeah, that got real quiet.
This deal sells out Ukraine. In fact, this deal would require Ukraine to give to Russia territory that Russia doesn't even currently control. It provides amnesty for all of the war crimes that Putin has committed.
To end the killing? Oh, okay. Gotcha. So we have to give them land that they don't even have to end the killing. Why can't we just say, stop killing? Why can't we do that? Why can't we say, go back to where you started? You can have your country and they get to keep their country. Why are we giving them anything? Are we that pathetic? Last I checked, I thought we were a big bad America. Just can't do it.
It creates no real security guarantees for Ukraine moving forward. This peace deal is a disaster for Ukraine. But it frankly shows how savvy Vladimir Putin is. He knows the way to get to Donald Trump and Steve.
Jason's decided to go with, I'm not listening to you because you don't like Trump. I'm plugging my ears now. Jason, we'll help you out. Jason Smith, D7H, if maybe he needs to find his way out. Do you need a way out here, Jason? Don't listen to us if we're just lying about him, but I'm asking you questions here. Why are you talking about people who lie about Trump? We're asking you a question about this thing right here. Are any of you capable of discussing this?
Pay them off. Pay their friends off. Do favors for their billionaire crowd. And if you do that, then they're prepared to sell out Ukrainian security, European security, and American national security. This is a terrible deal for Ukraine, but it's a great deal for Trump and Witkoff's billionaire buddies.
All right, let's try this again then. Let's try a different approach. If you don't give a fuck about Ukraine, you don't care about fairness, what are you getting out of this? Why is it important that we give Trump and his friends and his family a bunch of money for this? Can we try that one? What questions are you guys capable of answering? How can we engage you guys in a conversation where you don't just say Joe Biden and cry about people criticizing Trump? Why must the USA get involved with Russia and Ukraine? Because we promised to, Patrick. We promised that we would. The reason that Ukraine doesn't have nuclear weapons is because we cut a deal. We said, all right, Russia, Ukraine will give you the nuclear weapons back, and we won't allow them to have nuclear weapons, and we won't allow them to join NATO, but we will act as the deterrent. Us and our NATO allies, we will act as a deterrent against Russia. So, since you are now left unable to defend yourselves because you had to give up your weapons, if Russia invades, we will fight with you. You can't join NATO, but if Russia invades, we will fight with you. That's why. Just like a little bit of history there could teach you why we're involved in this at all. But so what are you saying? We should just go back on our agreements now? You're only saying that because your guy is a cuck. You're only saying, oh, why are we involved? You're saying that because your guy's a bitch. If we're not involved, then why are we involved? Why is Trump, if that's your take, then why the fuck's Trump involved? Why are his friends and family members cutting business deals while they're supposed to be doing peace agreements? Why are we involved? You can't have both. You can't be like, we can't criticize Trump because we shouldn't be involved. Well, he is involved. So that criticism would cut to him. So now the question is, all right, you are involved. Why is your goal to make your family members and your friends rich here? Like this is what we mean. Like you guys hear Trump and other Republicans consistently say that like Trump is respected on a world stage, that America's respected now. That's just not true. We go back on all of our deals. We've abandoned all of our allies. And this has real world repercussions going forward. When people don't want to trade with us anymore, when people don't want to form military alliances with us anymore, that's going to be a problem. I don't think you guys are so nearsighted because of your obsession with defending everything Donald Trump does. Take a step back. Think about what's going to happen here. Any chance to talk down? MRTB, any chance to down talk the black woman? Every time I give you another chance, you disappoint me. Look, I don't care if you are I don't care if you're a black woman. If you can't denounce Israel, you can't denounce a genocide. I'm sorry, like that comes first. What do you want me to wholesale support Jasmine Crockett because even though she supports Israel, even though she's taking massive corporate money? No, sorry. I'm sorry if that let you down. All right, let's move on. I mean, isn't that
Right
a problem
now,
to
the
just say
most
I've got to endorse somebody because she's a black woman? Is that what I have to do? So if there's like a Republican black woman, do I have to support her? You can do that? Got to support probably Byron Donalds too. It is probably an oxymoron. I was trying to think, are there any elected? Oh, there was Mia Love in Utah. She was a Republican congresswoman. Trying to think if there's any other black women that were elected to office in the Republican Party. Is there anybody else? She should be supported because she's fucking right. What is she fucking right about? She's right on some things. She's not a better candidate than Tallarico. Sorry. I don't support genocide. I don't want to play like I don't want to play with kid gloves with Israel. I don't want to say, well, we've got to be more nuanced with Israel. No, we don't. We don't need to have any nuance with Israel right now. They did a genocide. Stacey Dash? I don't remember Stacey Dash. Who's Stacey Dash? They couldn't join NATO because they were too corrupt. Who said? Wait, it doesn't. There's lots of corrupt countries in NATO. She was from Clueless. Was she elected or something? Or is she just a Republican? Why am I getting Stacey Dash here? I recognize her now. I know who she is. Is she a Republican? Oh, shit. He was a Fox News contributor? What does this say? I didn't know that about her. Actress turned conservative political commentator Stacey Dash said she's reconsidered her zealous support of former President Trump, condemns the January 6th riots. Okay, so this is from 2021. I don't know how she's been since then. She said Black History Month should be abolished. All right, should I support Stacey Dash there? Sparked criticism when she said there's no longer a need for award shows or television networks to honor the black community. All right. So I guess I got to support Stacey Dash now too. She ran in SoCal. All right. Michelle, thank you for the donation. Bradley said, "What's Santa's pickup line? I'm jolly and I've got a full sack." Sarah Beth said, he seems to undo everything Biden did except for what he likes. Then he takes credit instead. Yeah, that's true. He does take a lot of credit for what Biden. He's doing it now when he's talking about like the auto manufacturing and these deal like some of these deals with like Hyundai. He takes credit for deals that Biden signed, and then when they start when they go in operation, he's like, "That's me. I did it." In Compton is where she ran in their district. That's crazy. Well, guys, we've got to support Stacey Dash. Okay, we have to support Stacey Dash. No, we have no option there. All right. Let's talk about these farming bailouts. Here was Caitlin Collins yesterday in the press pool talking to Brooke Rollins, who is the Ag Secretary, and asked the question that I think all of us are asking and that they don't have an answer for.
Secretary Rollins, is this bailout today an acknowledgement that the administration's trade policies are hurting U.S. farmers? And
Yes. The answer is yes.
what would you say to U.S. farmers who are worried that China is not going to hold up its end of the agreements that the president was touting?
Yeah, so two quick things to answer your question. When we were out here earlier this spring, I think I came out and gaggled with a lot of you after the president announced Liberation Day. And starting then, almost immediately, I said this president is resolutely focused. If there is any evidence that trade is compromising these farmers' ability to sell their product, that we will ensure, just as he did in term one, negotiating China one, that we'll make sure that we are mitigating for that. The really interesting thing is, though, now that we're 8, 9, 10 months into this, there is almost zero evidence, if any evidence, that what they are doing and the challenges that our farm economy is facing in row crops has anything to do with these trade renegotiations. Instead,
I'm going to show you the evidence. All of the evidence shows that it was these tariffs and trade negotiations. All of it. Trump fucked it up the first time and the second time. All of the evidence says he fucked this up. There's no evidence saying that he didn't fuck this up.
the input costs being so high based on the last administration and not one new trade deal in 4 years, those are really the two basically driving factors in why the farm economy is today what it is. So you'll see.
All right. I mean, I think I might have moved some of these down. Did I skip this? Let me find this chart. Okay, I skipped down. I'll need to go to 11 here in a minute. Let me play this other, let me play 8, and then I've got to skip to 11 here. It went out of order a little bit. Here is an Arkansas farmer responding to this. And just want to point out, like, $12 billion, if you're going to bail out farmers, you should bail out the farmers. You should give them what they need. $12 billion is not even going to cover it.
$12 billion. How's that sound to you?
Well, I appreciate the help, but it's a far cry from what we need. Just the loss in corn this year with a record crop was over $16 billion. The loss in soybeans at production is around $11 billion. That doesn't count cotton and rice, which are even bigger losses than that.
So this $12 billion is not going to make up for this 1 year? I mean, say China goes back to buying soybeans and other crops as they were buying before this trade war. Is $12 billion not enough to bridge that gap?
Probably not.
$12 billion.
All right. It's not enough. Let me read these super chats here. Came through. Russia, Julian said Russia has been the common thread in most of U.S. conflicts, Korean War, Middle East, South America. They aren't friends with the U.S. No, they do drag us into a whole bunch of shit, though, which is pretty cool. Let's get some of this data here. Going down to 11. Here was Caroline Levitt on Newsmax. They're just lying. They're just going on. Trump announces this bailout, and they all go on there to lie. Even Newsmax just lying for them.
Yeah, Caroline, on the topic of affordability, I know one of the things that upsets a lot of folks is the price of groceries. And yesterday, President Trump announced a $9 billion aid package to support our farmers, strengthen the agriculture industry. And that's not just helping our farmers. It will pass down to people at the grocery store. This is a big deal, and it's also not funded by tax dollars. It's funded by tariffs.
Tariffs are tax dollars. If you tax Americans and then take that tax money and bail farmers out, those are called tax dollars. Tariffs are a tax on Americans. How does a place like Newsmax not know that? And if Caroline Leavitt was honest, wouldn't she correct them? They think you guys are stupid, and you don't offer much pushback against that.
Big deal, and it's also not funded by tax dollars, it's funded by tariffs.
That's right. Yes. Yesterday.
Yeah, that's right, she says. That's exactly correct. Thanks for repeating that lie that we tell everybody. The one that you could fix with a Google search. Are tariffs paid by foreign countries or by United States companies? United States companies. Therefore, it's a tax on Americans, right? Yes. You can just Google it, but she instead gives them like some gentle parenting, some, what do you call that? Not incentive. What do you call that when you like reward them? If we did it when I do it with my dogs, when we're training our dogs, what do we call that? Not an incentive. Maybe we can call it a reward. Here's a little catnip for you. Good job. You get a treat for saying the thing.
Here at the White House, President Trump met with a group of great farmers.
Positive reinforcement. That's what I was looking for.
From around the country and announced $12 billion in relief for them, again, funded through his successful tariffs, which have brought in billions of dollars back into our country to refuel our manufacturing industry. And now President Trump is paying that back to our agricultural industry, which is truly the backbone of our nation's.
Paying it back? What do you mean paying it back? He's not even giving them as much as he caused them to lose. They got absolutely decimated. Then she goes on, even more lies here. This story that they're spinning is one of the most pathetic stories I've ever seen them spin. It is 100% lies. Literally everything they're saying is a lie.
Another huge win for our farmers following his successful meeting with President Xi in South Korea, where Trump convinced President Xi.
That's a good point. 40 billion to wasn't it 40 billion to Argentina? 12 billion to our farmers? Nice.
To continue purchasing or begin purchasing again American soybeans, which is something China wasn't doing under the last administration because they had no respect.
All right. Should we talk about that? She just said that that China was not buying soybeans under the last administration. We had something called the U.S.-China Phase 1. This was signed by, guess who? Trump. Trump had signed this deal with them. What it did, if you look at agriculture, oh, does it not let me click? Let me go to agriculture. Now I can just pull up the graph, I think. Is this the one? Yeah. Here's the soybeans she said that China wasn't buying during the last administration. This is year over year. So Trump came in here. These were soybean sales before Trump's trade deal. Sure looks like they were buying soybeans to me. Let's go back. Maybe we misinterpreted what she said there. Maybe I fucked up. What did she say?
Wasn't doing under the last administration because they had to purchasing or begin purchasing again American soybeans, which is something China wasn't doing under the last administration because they had no respect for our President Biden.
Whoops. What are these? MAGA in the chat. What's this? How do we explain this, MAGA? They weren't buying soybeans. Looks like they were buying double, triple the soybeans. Now look where we're at now. Here's when the tariffs kicked in, by the way, in April. Look what happened after Trump's tariffs. What happened? Where's Jackie that won't shut the fuck up in the comments? Where you at, Jackie? Did Jackie leave? Jackie, you've had a lot to say today. Can you explain to me how this means China was buying no soybeans? Where'd Jackie go? All MAGA's just going to shut up now? Yeah, it looks like they started dropping. I mean, they were dropping before because it's seasonal. It does this every year. But it's supposed to spike back up. Like, this was October 2024, so we're talking about summer. Should have spiked back up. Yeah. Look at the numbers for July, August, and September. They're right there. 0. We stopped selling them. 0. It went to 0. Okay, well, I don't care. Don't change the subject, Maverick, you fucking coward. I'm asking you the question, why is she saying that they were buying no soybeans? Why is she, and by the way, if you're saying, oh, we do too many soybeans, well, then why are they starting a new deal where China will buy soybeans again? There's no way you're this fucking dumb, Maverick. You're here every day. There's no fucking way that you are this fucking dumb. We got to sit here until one MAGA can admit this is a fucking lie. Just what you guys have to, you can't stay here anymore if you can't do this. Say it's a lie. Say that she's lying. The data's right in front of you. MAGA, why did she say that we weren't buying soybeans before? It's clear that this is when we stopped selling soybeans. This is the Trump presidency. I'm honest to God, today I'm not doing it. I'm not going to sit here today and have you guys like burn through the chat talking about anything but what we're talking about. If you can't say right now she was lying. I'm talking about Jackie, Matthew, you have one chance to say she's lying or you're gone. Jackie, you have one chance to say she's lying or you're gone. One chance. All right, Patrick, you can stay. Thank you. Maverick, we've seen you before. Matthew Ridenour, is she lying? Matthew, you need to say that she's lying or you can't stay anymore. I'm going to scroll through the chat. You guys can tell me, who else do we need to check on today? I'm looking through. What other MAGA dipshits do we have here today? Look at Biden's numbers. These are all Trump's numbers. No, dipshit. Trump got elected and came in 2025. 2024 was the year before. These are all Biden's numbers. Now you have to say that she's lying. Who said that? All right, Jeremy, you have to say that she's lying or you can't stay. We're going to get rid of a lot of people today. Did we get Matthew yet? Matthew, did she lie? All right, Matthew's gone today. Sorry, Matthew. Have a good day. Somebody mute Matthew for 24 hours. Matthew's gone. Larry, is she lying? Larry, we're going to take a chance on you today. Larry just puts up the red flag. Larry, is she lying right now? The claim she made is they were not buying soybeans before this administration. Come on, Larry. Just got to see if any of you guys are capable of telling the truth. All right, Maverick's gone now too, because Maverick, you have about 30 seconds to say she's lying or else you got to go. Maverick's gone for 24 hours unless in the next, well, I'll give you 1 minute. Maverick has 1 minute to say she's lying. Larry, you have 1 minute to say she's lying. Anybody else? Shame on you, Canada. No, Larry, not probably. Say it, Larry, full chest. She's lying. All right, Maverick can stay. Maverick said that she's lying about this. Thank you. God, it's like pulling teeth to get you guys to be honest. I appreciate that you're doing it, though. Larry, yes or no? No probablys. You can see the data right here. These are million metric tons. Come on, Larry. I don't know. Sterlo, are you on this too? All right, Sterlo, is she lying? I don't know what I haven't seen your comments. Sterlo now is on the clock. Sterlo, is she lying? Yes or no? Yeah, we can do that sometimes. That's a good question, Big Steph fan. Sterlo's time. I don't care, Sterlo. You have to tell me if she's lying about this or not. I don't know where you're at. You have to say if she's lying or not. Is she lying when she says that they weren't buying soybeans before? No, not partially. She said they were buying none. One more chance, Sterlo. You can't play fence sitter right now. This is an easy one. Yes or no, Sterlo? Was she lying? Did Larry answer? Larry said yes. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it, Sterlo. For the love of God, You got 20 seconds. Yes, thank you. Why is it so fucking hard for you guys to tell the truth? Why do I have to beg you to say yes? Why do I have to threaten you to admit that you're being lied to? This is why I say it's a fucking cult. I literally have to stop the whole goddamn show and threaten you that you'll be kicked out if you aren't honest. Be better. You got to be better the rest of the show. I might do this the whole goddamn show. Because I'm tired of these people lying and you guys going, talk about Minnesota. All right, let's keep going with it. But I appreciate you guys playing along with that. Here she is some more. Oh, that was the end. All right. I want to show even just like agricultural imports. Donald Trump is not a friend to the farmers. Look what happens. So Donald Trump comes in 2017. Immediately, our exports to China, which is how our farmers make their money, crash. Trump then has to bail out the farmers and reverse his own policy. This is when he signs the Phase 1 agreement so that farmers will sell soybeans to China. Then it massively goes up. And then it's coming down. We have the pandemic. The number comes down. And then he starts the same fucking trade war that he did before. See this where it was 16 billion and 14 billion? This is because of his trade war. This killed American farmers. Then he had to bail them out and write a new deal, which we kept in place during the Biden administration. And then he did the same dumb shit again. It's the same playbook. He did the same dumb shit again. We were doing okay. He fucked it up. We fixed it. He fucked it up. Or if there's any farmers here, or if any of you have friends that are farmers, I want you guys, this graph is from the American Farm Bureau Federation. This link will be in the Discord. I want you to send this to your friends who are Republican and who are farmers and ask them, who helps farmers? Look at this. Here's Obama. It's all Obama until this dip. Obama, Republican. Democrat, Republican. Why are Republicans going to war against our farmers? The thing is they go and they preach like the anti-woke shit to all these farmers who live in white communities who don't have any understanding of what it's like to live in like culturally diverse places. And so to them, it doesn't make sense that like they're talking about Black Lives Matter. Like, of course, there's no black people in their town. And they probably are like, if a black family moves in, they're probably not threatened by one black family. And so they think like this isn't a real issue. It's not affecting me. I can't believe this is what we're talking about. So I've got to side with the Republicans because these crazy Democrats, and then they just get fucked. Please send this to your farming friends. We're going to have to do this a lot. All of you Republicans are in abusive relationships with the Republican Party. They lie to you every day. They're not doing anything to help you. They're selling you out. They're using culture wars to get you to support them. And then they just sell you out every chance they get. They're selling you out to Russia. They're selling you out to the Middle East right now. They're trying to replace all your jobs with AI. And then they cut benefits, they cut SNAP, they cut Medicaid to pay so that they can help their AI buddies replace your job. We're going to have to do more of this. We can't gentle parent anymore. We're going to have to have some strict rules about what you guys are allowed to say and not say. All right. Go back up here. I want to get the rest of her interview. I did a bad job putting this together today. All right. Here's now Republicans. I'm not going to call it full panic mode because I don't know. I don't know if they're panicking or not. I will say this. Republicans recognize that nothing that they're doing works. None of their messaging is working. None of the people in their party get anybody to come out and vote. This is now them on the mom view, which I assume is like a Moms for Liberty version of the View. And this is Susie Wiles, president's chief of staff. here on the Mom View, and she's just admitting that the only shot that Republicans have to win the midterms is if they turn the midterms into voting for Donald Trump. They have to basically replace their candidate with Donald Trump because nobody's going to come out to vote for Republicans, but maybe they'll come out to vote for Donald Trump.
But we're going to put him on the campaign trail, too. Typically, just a little bit of campaign.
Oh, yeah. So we're bailing out the farmers again. I thought y'all hated socialism. Thanks, B87. Amy Lynn said, China having highest surplus, trade surplus in history. They're making in what we're losing. Taking in, I think is what you meant. Yeah. China's doing great in all these trade battles. They've never been better, and we're struggling.
Speak, if I may.
Yeah.
Typically, in the midterms, it's not about who's sitting at the White House. It's you localize the election,
Right.
and you keep the federal officials out of it. We're actually going to turn that on its head.
Good.
And put them on the ballot because so many of those low propensity voters are Trump voters.
Yes, they are.
And we saw.
Yeah. So many people who don't know what's going on locally and in their state and don't know anything about politics show up and they vote for Trump. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Couldn't possibly be because it's a cult of personality, could it?
Could go Tuesday, what happens when he's not on the ballot and not active. So I haven't quite broken it to him yet, but he's going to campaign like it's 2024 again.
Oh.
For all these people that he helps. He doesn't help everybody, but for those he does, he's a difference maker. And he's certainly a turnout machine. So the midterms will be very important to us.
So what that means is Donald Trump is going to go out and campaign at the midterms, and he's going to cry about shit. He's going to cry about Democrats. He's going to cry about Joe Biden. He's not going to talk about his record because his record is dog shit. They're going to cry about all this shit, and then they're going to claim that they're going to fix it. And Republicans will be like, yeah, this time they probably really are going to fix it. Last time they didn't fix it because the Dems, but this time they're going to fix it. You're just going to go out and you dipshits are going to baby bird. Thanks, Donald, for the same fucking rhetoric we've heard. That's what they're going to do, and it's probably going to work in a lot of Republican places.
He'll work very hard to keep the majority.
Yeah,
in the Senate.
we can't afford to have this
Cannot.
stalled.
No.
And one of the things.
And yeah, I am complaining right now, but I'm complaining about what's happening right now. Republicans never talk about what's happening right now when they're in office because they suck at being in office. So all Republicans, the entire ideology is just complain. There's nothing I can talk about with Democrats. We don't have the House. We don't have the Senate. We don't have the presidency. It would make absolutely no sense for me to even cover Democrats on this show because they're not doing anything. They can't do anything. So if I'm going to talk about what's happening in this country, the policies are Republican policies. Sorry, own it. There's nothing I could talk about with Democrats. Go vote for Democrats. You want me to hear me complain about Democrats? Go vote for them then. But right now, Republicans are running it, and they want to talk about anything other than what they are doing. So they're going to go back to Joe Biden. They're going to go back to Obama. That's all you have, and you all fucking know it. Every one of you proves every single day that there is nothing that this administration is doing well. You come in every day and you complain about shit. You complain about immigration. You complain about Tim Walz. You talk about Somalis. That's all you do. You just complain about shit. Not one of you. If things were going so well, you would think one of you would come in every day and be like, hey, look at these great things that are happening in this country. But they're not. It's just racism, bigotry, and bitch-assery. That's your whole party platform. That's why Trump's good at this. That's why you have to bring Trump out for the midterms, because there's never been a greater bitch ass than Donald Trump. Nobody's better at complaining while being a billionaire in charge of the country with a majority in the House and the Senate and a Supreme Court in his pocket. I've never seen somebody with so much power complain so much. And that's all that dumb motherfucker does is complain, complain, complain. And he's supposed to be getting shit done. And then you guys are like, well, if he's complaining, then I guess we'll complain too. And then you come to the stream and you complain, and none of you address reality. And the reality is things are not going well.
I keep telling people, and I'm sure we're going to talk politics. I got to talk this. I am so frustrated with all of the people that gave abundantly to organizations like.
She's talking to you guys, by the way. This Republican woman is now going to talk to all you Republicans for us, because what she's about to tell you is You guys are fucking lazy. You don't know anything, and all you care about is Donald Trump. Take his dick out of your mouth and engage in politics. Learn something, vote for something, advocate for something. Donald Trump doesn't need 60 million people sucking his dick at once. Right? You could actually care about this country and advocate for change. And she's about to talk to you. She's tired of you guys. She's tired of you people who just put on the Trump shirt and the Trump bumper sticker and go on lives and just be like, Trump, 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 and then you do nothing. They're tired of you. They have to drag his raggedy ass out all over the country to mumble incoherently the same campaign slogans we've heard since 2015 because none of you ever changed and you're just there to worship Donald Trump.
This. I am so frustrated with all of the people that gave abundantly to organizations like ours and others over the last 4 years to make sure that we won. And our objective was threefold. We didn't just want the presidency. We wanted the House. We wanted the Senate. And we were very strategic on where we went, how we focused to get those moms out. And now it's like they're all sitting on their laurels and going, oh, we're good. I'm like, I don't think you realize how good we are.
See this? Rhinos don't count. No. You guys just call everybody who isn't Trump a rhino because you are dumb, you are lazy, and you suck his dick for a hobby and as your identity. I'm not letting you guys talk about rhinos anymore. You're too fucking stupid to talk about anything else. All you know is Donald Trump. They're telling you, the whole Republican Party, even Trump's chief of staff is like, God, these people are so goddamn dumb and so goddamn obsessed with Donald Trump that we can't win elections unless he does like a pep rally for them and they get to come out and put on all their favorite Trump costumes and talk about how much they love Donald Trump. That's the only way we can get these dumb motherfuckers to vote.
And this with swipe of a pen and one election can change everything.
And the majorities in both houses are so small.
Right. They are.
This is a good Senate year for Republicans. Every 2 years is what it is for House members. So there's candidate recruitment. The president started raising money for the midterms the day after the election. Good. And he's sitting on a huge war chest to help these people. And he'll use it. And he'll use himself and he'll use his money that he's raised, probably his money too. And nobody can outwork him. So there's every reason to be confident, but we have to actually get it done.
Yeah.
See, even like, look at Kung Pao Shih Tzu. I just mocked you. I just said that you don't know what you vote for. You have no idea. You're just a Trump fan. And all you did, you could have voted for and then you talked about Kamala Harris. You don't know a goddamn thing about American politics. You don't know anything about how our economy works. You don't understand any of this. All you know is that you don't like Democrats or anybody who speaks ill of Donald Trump. Every time I call you guys dumb, you type something dumb. One of you, it would be dope if one of you just like proved once in a while that you weren't in a cult. Once in a while, it'd be nice to look in the comments and not see a bunch of cult members. Yeah, I guess that is the name. What did this say? Dustin said, are MAGA voters just looking for a T designation on the endorsed candidate now? Yeah. I've told you this before, but I think it was the mayor that was in Mesa, or it might have been Blake Masters. Literally, all their campaign sign said was, it had their name and then it said endorsed by Donald Trump. That was all their campaign, and they won by a wide margin because that's all people really cared about. It's about Trump. You guys are weird about Donald Trump. It's been weird for a while, but it's getting even more weird because as I'm calling it out, you're like, we're gonna double down on this shit. And here's what their campaign is going to look like. So just get ready for it. It's going to be easily debunked. Trump has a year now under his belt and a year where things went really, really poorly. So he can't talk about this year. He can just promise you things that might happen in the next year or in the coming years, and then he's going to lie about shit. Here's an example. He went and he sat down with Dasha Burns from Politico, and here's an example of what they're going to trot out as his campaign strategy.
On other goods.
By the way, they launched, Caroline Leavitt said that this interview was basically like the campaign launch for the midterms. So they're spinning, they're saying that this interview is like a precursor of how the midterms are going to look.
Consider more carve-outs on other goods that Americans find too expensive?
Well, some carve-outs, you mean from tariffs?
From tariffs, yeah. Like coffee, like bananas.
Sure, and I've done that already with coffee. They're very small carve-outs. It's not a big deal. But let me tell you about the real economy. We've got $18 trillion coming into our country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years, and he was heading south. Our country was falling apart. 18 trillion because of tariffs. $18 trillion is coming into our country. I think
we've brought in 195 billion in tariffs, according to Trump's numbers. You'd have to, he's citing a number that is 92 times. Yeah, Sterlo, you dumb fucking idiot. Boom. Boom. Sterlo just eats it up. Daddy Trump said it, so it must be true. It's not even fucking close to true, dog. Not even close. It's 195 billion. And that's not coming into the country. It was already here. It's money that Americans paid in taxes. So that money could have been circulating the economy, but instead it went to the federal government. So that's $195 billion that Americans don't have to spend, that Donald Trump is lying to dipshits like you that it came from another country, and he's also calling it 19 trillion. Boom.
Because of tariffs and November 5th election, if you want to know the truth. But
so would you rule out reducing tariffs on any more goods?
On some, and on some I'll increase tariffs. Because you know what happens is because of tariffs, all of the car companies are coming back. You know, we lost 58% of the automobile business. We had a monopoly on the world. We had everything. And because we had presidents that either weren't smart or didn't have business sense, or their people didn't do a good job.
Or, and hear me out here, we stopped incentivizing American car manufacturers to make their stuff here. And we did this stupid experiment in this country of trickle-down economics. And we offshored all of our manufacturing. And now Trump is saying all this manufacturing that we let go out the door, when it comes back into this country, I'm going to charge Americans even more. So not only did these Americans lose jobs and lose American manufacturing, I'm going to charge Americans more money to buy those cars and automobiles that come from foreign countries. America first, right? And let's talk about, like, Hyundai was a massive deal. Now, he didn't sign that deal with Hyundai. Hyundai signed that deal with the Biden administration to do to do more of their manufacturing here in America. It is true that in the last 10 years, we have seen a reshoring of American manufacturing for automobiles. It is slightly up. That's not, if you look at the numbers, you're not seeing a big shift between Trump and Biden and then Trump again. Like it's all kind of moving in one direction. And we are getting more manufacturing. But now Hyundai's thinking about pulling that because Trump sent an ICE raid to their manufacturing facility and they arrested a bunch of people who were here legally to help Americans learn how to manufacture automobiles. And then Trump sent in an ICE raid and arrested them, and now they don't want to come back. And now Hyundai's saying, I don't know if we're going to do our manufacturing there. I don't know if I trust this country. So when he's talking about the reshoring of American manufacturing, number one, that's not a Republican or Democrat thing. That's a trickle-down economics thing. And number two, he's kind of fucking that up too.
We could have kept that. We could have kept the chip market. We had 100% of the chip market, Intel, all of these guys. You know, there's a thing. They came in to see me, Intel. They needed something to be done by the government. I said, I'm going to do it, but I think you have to.
Yeah, what they needed from the government is they needed, and this is kind of silly, they weren't allowed to send out their chips because Biden did the thing that Trump loves. He put a tariff a restriction, not a tariff, a restriction on NVIDIA selling their chips to China. Because what he didn't want to happen is he didn't want Chinese manufacturers to rip off our design and manufacture themselves. And so then when Trump came into office, NVIDIA and Intel came to him because they're like, I've heard this guy can be bought. And they're like, hey, dude, do you think we could send those chips over to China? There's a lot of money we could make over there. And he's like, yeah, but we're going to need 25% of that. And so now the thing that you guys always talk about with tariffs, how it protects our stuff from being ripped off by China, Trump now is allowing China to rip them off. And if you know anything about chips, China's kind of closing the gap now. So Trump's made it easier for China to catch up. Why? Because they asked him to, and they gave him some money.
Give us 10% of your company. You know what happened? We made $40 billion on that deal. The price went through the roof. The United States, in about 10 minutes, I made $40 billion. No.
You did? Did you sell that stock? Because if you didn't sell that stock, you didn't make anything, right? We just own, now for some reason we own stock in a private company. That's called socialism. That's the people, us. We get to own part of the means of production now for Intel and NVIDIA. But you guys, you're against socialism, right? Now, I'm cool with this deal. Honestly, I actually think it's one of the things that Trump did that I like. If we're gonna give people a special carve out, if we're gonna give people all these tax breaks, we should own a percentage of their business. We should get some of their revenue. If they're not gonna pay taxes, we need to recuperate that somehow. But if a Democrat even hinted at doing this, it would be all over every news organization, and they'd be called a communist. But when Trump does it, it's just good business sense. Isn't that weird how sometimes good business sense aligns with socialist policies? Isn't that weird? All right, so that's what they're going to run on. They're going to run on lying about tariffs and how much they brought in and socialism. Maybe that's why he liked Mamdani so much. Then Trump's saying this too. If you were going to pick a Fed chair, and I'm talking to the Republicans here, the Jerome Powell, he's the outgoing chair of the Federal Reserve. If you were hiring somebody to chair the Federal Reserve, and their job is going to be, the thing that Trump cares most about is interest rates. Would you want to make sure that the Fed chair is giving interest rates that line up with the economic models that they're all looking at? Or would you want the Fed chair to just pick and choose what the interest rates are based on what the president says? Now, I'm asking Republicans here. Do you have a preference? Would you like them to be independent of the president, or do you think the president should tell the Fed what to do with rates? I know. I'm asking you questions that you can't really deflect from here. I know this is tough for you guys. Do you guys know what the Federal Reserve is? Do I need to explain this more simply? I think the Fed. Okay, so you think it should be independent. You don't think the president should get to choose. Okay, well, I appreciate that, Patrick. Are you going to be surprised to find out that Trump just wants them to do what he says?
You're going to pick a new Fed chair soon. Is it a litmus test that the new chair lower interest rates immediately?
Yes. Well, this guy should too, but.
Yeah. Yes. Why? Republicans in the chat, tell me why we should lower interest rates right now. Why should interest rates be lower right now? Just put it in your own terms. Like, how will your life get better if you lower interest rates? Interest rates being lowered really only helps people with a lot of debt. Specifically new debt. Good question, Sterlo. Why not? Because if you lower, if you're lowering interest rates, one, you need to see that generally you're going to lower interest rate because you have to spur investment. Investment's not a problem here right now, right? According to Trump, this is the most people have ever invested in this country. I do think that interest rates, I think they're fine where they're at. I think they could be lowered 1/4 point. But Trump wants interest rates lowered even more than that. Why? Because all of his friends have a ton of new debt. And they don't have the cash to pay for that new debt. Because places like NVIDIA, who have been going around issuing loans and taking on debt, have no ability to pay for that debt if people default on those loans. And the default rates are going up. I think it's Vanguard, but it's BlackRock or Vanguard. They just basically had to, they basically wiped off $1.3 trillion in collateralized loan obligations off their books. And then they had to pay out of their pocket to their investors. because they were such stupid loans that they were afraid if they didn't pay off their investors, that their investors would raise hell and they would leave and it would bankrupt them. And there's a bunch of these really shitty loans out there. And the people holding those loans need to be able to refinance their debt at a lower rate so that they can afford the loans that they've given out and the loans that they've taken. He also wants to, that's a good point too, John Foster. He wants to be able to refinance government debt. There's two ways to get out of like our debt crisis, and they're not being very honest about it, but they are doing it. Devaluing the currency helps, and then refinancing debt. So they want to be able to sell new bonds at lower rates for a shorter amount of time, and they want to be able to pay off their old bonds with the new bonds. It's all just an accounting trick because we're fucked. But more importantly, Donald Trump is saying, I'm going to choose my Fed chair based on if they will lower rates. So basically, I won't choose anybody who won't do what I say.
I think he's a combination of not a smart person and doesn't.
I actually agree with that. The big credit card companies don't follow what the Fed says. That's right, because it's not meant to help you and I. We're not all going to all of a sudden get a better rate on our debt, in credit card debt, which is at all-time highs. That's going to stay where it's at. But all of these uber wealthy people will be able to refinance and get out of some of their bad deals.
Doesn't like Trump. But
So
the
you've
reason he
spoken
doesn't
with your
like
potential-
Trump, well, the reason he doesn't like Trump is because I hit him hard because he's doing a bad job.
So you've talked to your potential candidates.
We're fighting through interest rates. Look, he's a negative, but this country is doing so well. Again, we have $18 trillion being invested. Car companies are moving back.
That's a made-up number. Why do you, Republicans, how come all of the people we've shown today that are bragging about what's going on, why are they all lying? If things are going so well, how come Caroline Leavitt, Susie Wiles, and Donald Trump have to lie about everything? Boom. Boom. Why can't they just tell the truth? If things were going so well, it would seem like they wouldn't have to make up all these numbers. Does it concern you at all? Where's Larry? Does it concern you at all, Larry, that they're making up numbers for everything they say right now? Maverick, think they're trying to buy time by lying? Maverick, does it concern you that they're trying to buy time by lying? Doesn't bother you that they're lying? And buy time for what? For the tax cuts to kick in next year? That's what they're saying. Remember, they told you all year that, in quarter 2, we're going to see a boom. In quarter 3, we're going to see a boom. In quarter 4, we're going to see a boom. And we've seen nothing but problems. And now they're like, next year. Prove his made up numbers? Listen, brother, if I tell you that I have $18 trillion in my bank account, how would you prove that I don't? You couldn't without seeing the bank account, right? Well, Donald Trump has provided no evidence that we have $18 trillion. These are all promises with no way to collect. So I can tell you where he's getting this number from. And he uses it interchangeably. He's not actually talking about tariff revenue. He just sometimes, what he's actually trying to say is that tariffs allowed him to negotiate this money. But when he went to like the European Union, when he went to South Korea, when he went to India, Pakistan, Qatar, part of the trade deals, it's not in the trade deal, but part of the handshake agreement is these countries say, yeah, if there's good investments, we're willing to invest $500 billion in your economy if it makes sense to us. We have $500 billion, and if it makes sense for us to invest all of that money into your economy, we'll gladly do it. And then Trump goes home and says, I got us $500 billion. But he didn't. This is all hypothetical money. And we know that these people also lie about the number. We know Mark Zuckerberg, he was caught on a hot mic turning to Trump being like, I didn't know what number you wanted me to say I was willing to invest. And then Trump's taking that money that Zuckerberg said. I think he said like $700 billion. So he's going around and he's getting people to publicly on a microphone say, here's what we're pledging. And then he's telling you that he has that money. But he doesn't. We don't have any of that money. Almost none of it has materialized. These are just people saying, our country would invest. Here's what we have to invest. Here's what we're willing to invest if it makes sense. And then he's coming out saying, we have $18 trillion. It's a made up, it's not a made up number in terms of like, can we add up all the promises? Sure. But do we have that money? No. Will we collect on that money? Who knows? Do we have any ability to force them to invest that money? No. They can do whatever they want. I could go around to every one of my neighbors and they could tell me, yeah, I'll give you $1,000. If you bring me an investment that makes sense, I'll invest $1,000. If every neighbor tells me that, and let's say I have, $10 million, do I have $10 million? No, I've got to give them something worth investing in. And look at what we have to invest in. What are they going to invest in? Trump's friends' companies. They're going to invest in NVIDIA. They're going to invest in Intel. They're going to invest in Oracle. They're going to invest in Palantir. And those companies aren't making any money. They're speculatively driven. So like I don't remember what it is. It's like 800 times. I can't even remember what. Let's see. What's NVIDIA's revenue last year? Let's see. Maybe we have 2025. If we look at NVIDIA's revenue, 135 billion. NVIDIA versus their market share. Somebody remember that number? What was it? 130.5 billion? Or market cap, excuse me, not market share, market cap. Their market cap is 4.49 trillion. So somebody do the math real quick. How many times does 130, let's just call it 131 billion? Is that what it was? It's called 131 billion. How many times does 131 billion go into let's call it 4.5 trillion? And then just do the math there. How are they ever going to get to that valuation? It's bloated. So people aren't going to be willing, these countries aren't going to be willing to just keep throwing money at NVIDIA if they're not actually getting any return. Right now, what you have with NVIDIA is people pumping money into it, and that's the only reason their stock price is high. It's not because of how much money they're making. It's 132x. Okay. Is that right? Seems low. Thank you, William. 132 times. So their valuation is 132x their revenue. No, it's not 3x. 4.5 trillion into 100 and how many times is, let's see. Math here. I think you had it right the first time, probably. 34.45. 34.45x. That's not good. That's not a smart investment. So I don't know. That's the plan. And then again, how does that help the average American? It doesn't. None of that helps any of you. So this 18 trillion that he's talking about that then he puts into a slush fund and he gets to choose where it goes, he's going to give it to his friends. Did you know that his the Defense Department just gave his kid like $650 billion as a loan for some reason? Trump's kid just got $650 billion as a loan from the Defense Department for his drone company. Where do you think that money would go if Trump's getting 18 trillion? You don't think he's just going to prop up his friends? 620. Thank you. 620 million. Yeah. Cool.
Left us years ago. AI is coming in at levels never seen before. Factories are opening up all over the country. $18 trillion of investment in the United States. Again, with Biden, we would have lost $10 trillion, okay? 18, that's...
But why wait, why didn't we then? Why didn't we lose 10 trillion then? With Biden, we would have lost it. Why? We didn't lose. American manufacturing was on the rise under Biden. So he just tells you that and you believe it? Biden's track record doesn't matter here? Trump literally just made up two numbers. We have 18 trillion and it would have been minus 10 trillion if Biden was president. And because he says it with confidence, people just believe it. I'm looking specifically at you, Sterlo.
It's a record. You know who has the second record? China. China had 2 trillion. That's a lot, 2 trillion. We have $18 trillion. And that ultimately, you know what it reduces itself to? Jobs. Huh? You can have jobs like you've never seen in the...
All right, now explain that, Republicans. $18 trillion largely going into AI, which is going to kill jobs. How's this going to equate to jobs? He doesn't know, guys. I think we need to be honest about this. He doesn't know. He's too stupid to understand this. And a bunch of rich people who are much smarter than him are using him as a mouthpiece to sell out his voters. And you, his voters, who think he's brilliant and can do no wrong, you don't even recognize what's happening. They're using a dipshit. He's a useful idiot. Russia's doing it to him. The oligarchs are doing it to him. Qatar's doing it to him. Saudi Arabia's doing it to him. They're all using him. And they're using him because you refuse to think for yourselves. You refuse to ever criticize this man. And you think he's in charge. And you think he knows what the fuck he's talking about. But he doesn't. He's a fucking moron. And all they do is they give him numbers and they tell him he's doing it. Why do you think they jack him off publicly at those cabinet meetings? Why do you think he's the only president in history that has a cabinet full of billionaires and all they do, these arrogant pricks, sit around and go, "You're the greatest president ever. Nothing could possibly be done without you." Why? Because they know that's all it takes. You got a dipshit, dumb fuck narcissist who just needs to be praised because his daddy and mommy never hugged him. And he doesn't know, he just is fighting all the time for praise. So they just tell him whatever he wants to hear. And then he's like, "Yeah, okay, we'll do whatever you want." You guys have been taken over, hijacked by the oligarchs because you still think this dumb motherfucker knows what's going on. God damn it, if you thought Biden was dumb and you can't see that this guy doesn't understand any of this, for fuck's sakes, he doesn't know what a tariff is. He doesn't know who pays tariffs. And he has people who definitely know what a tariff is, not even correcting him. They're asked, like, why doesn't he seem to know what a tariff is? "Oh, shut the fuck up. How about that? He's our president. He knows. He knows. It's 5D chess." He's the dumbest goddamn guy possible, but because he's such an egomaniac and because you guys are buried inside his asshole, you can't see clearly that he is being used to move all of our wealth and all of our money into the hands of a couple people, and his family's getting rich too, and his friends are getting rich too, and none of them give a fuck about him either. As soon as this dumb motherfucker dies, they're going to kick his kids off of all of their boards, and they're going to run from the Trumps because everybody in the Trump family is like a descendant of him. They're also fucking dumb. They've also never made any money on their own. This is the richest they've ever been, and it's because everybody's blowing them because they're too stupid to realize that they're getting played. And you guys are too dumb to realize they're getting played. Or you have too much confidence in this dumb guy. But this dumb guy makes you guys feel safe for some reason. And so while they sell you out, you're like, "Oh, he knows. 5D chess, he knows." Yeah, he's pissed at Europe right now. I don't know who's... Marky, do you got my outline here? Because now he's mad at Europe. And by the way, this isn't about... it's really not about ideology. It's about fascism. And fascists, they aren't really like, it's not really about racism to them. It's not really about ideology. It's about power. And they know, all these rich people who are running the world right now and who want to also take over Europe, they know goddamn well that they can't come out and say to you, hey, I am rich, I am smart, I should be in charge, and you should give up all your rights to me. They know that won't work. So instead, they tell you things like, oh, this is actually about an ideological problem here we have between these two religions. This is actually about immigration. You have to give us, the government, all this power because your government won't stop this mass immigration. They won't stop these roving gangs. And so you guys, we're going to scare you, and don't worry, you're tough. You're tough, okay? You're not handing over your power to the government because you're pussies. It's because you're tough. You know, and you're going to do the right thing for America or for the UK or for France. That's what you really are. You're just patriots. You love your country and you don't want to see it changed. And so that's why you're handing the power over to us. It's not because you're dumb fucks who get easily duped. And then they're like, do we have any dumb fucks who are really powerful who could also amplify this message so that what we're doing in America, where we're just stealing everything right out from under the American citizens' noses, is there a dumb fuck we could get over there in Europe to start getting people to feel the same way? Well, we got Donald Trump. He'll literally say anything. Great. Put him in front of a camera with Dasha Burns and see how it goes. Here it is. Oh, sorry. Let me read some super chats. China having highest trade surplus in history. They're making in. Oh, I read that one. Rory said, dollar train. Neen says, I will not vote for anyone who takes money from Israel. I appreciate that. I am FRCD said it's like pledging to Jerry Lewis's March of Dimes marathon. You pledge a number, don't count until the check clears. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's a good analogy there. Let me check with Jen. Tim, thanks for joining the dollar train. Janelle said loving the carnage today. I read that from Dustin. Let me check over here. Good reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, and I'll update that goal in a minute. You guys have been great today. But if you can help us knock out that gift goal by the end, that'd be great. Then Jen won't have to give you guilt trips in the chat. But here's Donald Trump being a useful idiot again. This time now he's carrying water for the billionaires so that he can start a war in Europe where the billionaires take over while everybody in Europe thinks that they're actually fighting about immigration.
Well, Europe is a different place.
What do you mean by that?
And if it keeps going the way it's going, Europe will not be, in my opinion, many of those countries will not be viable countries any longer. Their immigration policy is a disaster. What they're doing with immigration is a disaster. We had a disaster coming, but I was able to stop it. You know, we have no people coming through our borders now. 0, 7 months. I mean, who would believe 0? We went from millions.
Nobody, because that's a dumb fucking number. That's a made-up number too. They're just saying 0. You know that, right? Like, you guys really believe that not one person has crossed our border illegally this whole year? How'd we do that?
Millions of people, in some cases millions of people a month, but millions of people to no people.
That's not what Europe looks like.
The opposite, yeah. I know Europe, they're coming in from all parts of the world, not just the Middle East. They're coming in from the Congo, tremendous numbers of people coming from the Congo. And even worse, they're coming from prisons of the Congo and many other countries.
Oh, where have we heard that before? They're emptying their prisons into our country. Now, it wasn't true in this country. They weren't emptying prisons into our country. They weren't emptying asylum seekers people from insane asylums, as he claimed, into our country. Where have we heard that lie before? Oh, we've heard it here? He's just repeating in Europe. Isn't it weird how every country that has like a fascist right-wing party right now, that all of them are saying the exact same thing? That all these countries with black and brown people are unloading their prisons and their insane asylums into our countries. How do they all have the same exact message? It might have something to do with the people that are funding them and coordinating that message. That could be it. No. It's just because it's a very real problem, for sure.
And for some reason, they want to be politically correct, which actually I think is the opposite of politically correct. But they want to be politically correct, and they don't want to send them back to where they came from. And Europe is, if you take a look at Paris, it's a much different place. I loved Paris. It's a much different place than it was. If you take a look at London.
What does that mean? Where's my MAGA? What's different about Paris? Oh yeah, I'm going to pull up the crime statistics in. Yeah, so I have updated through 2020 here. Violent crime rate went down 2.18% in 2017. Then it went down 8% in 2018, and then another 8.2% in 2019. Looks like the crime rate is falling in France. Interesting. Let's see. What's this? Who's this? Who's the source here? It's from Statista. Homicide rate per 100,000 people in France from 1990 to 2021. So in 1990, the homicide rate per 100,000 people, it peaked in 94 at 2.66 per 100,000 people. And by 2021, it was down to 1.14. Oh, it looks like crime is okay. So same story here in America, where they lie to you about violent crime. That's weird. Let's look at property crime. That looks like it's going down too. Let's see if I can find some updated statistics. I'll use Perplexity. Is a violent crime trending up in Paris? Remember yesterday we looked at the UK and it was like the crime rate actually was going up in the UK, but the crime that was happening was actually like crime against Muslims. Perplexity saying no, violent crime in Paris is not clearly trending upward in 2025 based on available data, though overall crime rates like theft remain a concern, and some categories like homicide saw small increases in 2024. Let's see what that was through. So France saw violent crime peaks between 20 and 2022, but national offenses declined in 2024 to prior levels. Paris-specific data shows rising gun murders and assaults in 2024. 2025 reports emphasize stable or lower violent rates versus property crime. Tourist areas face pickpocketing spikes, not assaults. Drug gang activity in suburbs fuel incidents, while Paris recording higher racially motivated crimes. Yeah, once again. Once again, it's the French people committing crimes against immigrants. Crazy. But Donald Trump, the dipshit, the mouthpiece, owned by the oligarchs, he's going to keep scaring you all the time. Do UK 2025 crime rates? Okay, I'll pull that up. Show me. You want violent crime, right? Violent crime rates in the UK from, you said 2000 to 2025? From 2000 to 2025. No, Maverick, go look up listen, bud. You said go look up the immigrant street criminals in Europe. It's a fact. What are you telling me to look up? Are you saying that there are immigrants in Europe that commit crimes? Of course. But what we're trying to figure out is if the crime overall, if the crime rate is going up, right? Because that's what Trump is saying. There's always crime in every country, and any country that has immigrants has crime by immigrants, and any country that doesn't have immigrants doesn't have crime with immigrants. But that doesn't mean that like in America, if we replaced American-born citizens with immigrants, statistically, our crime rate would go down because immigrants in this country commit crimes at a lower rate than U.S.-born citizens. So that's why we look at it holistically. And this is what I'm saying to you. Like, this is why Trump works for you, is because he just tells you a story and you believe it, which is why you just told me a story, not data. But let's look at the violent crime rate. Whoops, I used Google instead of Perplexity here. Won't give me the same source. I searched the parameters there that you wanted. So a violent crime rate from 2000 to 2025. Gonna load here. Violent crime rates in the UK primarily tracked for England and Wales via the crime survey for England and Wales, and police recorded crimes show long-term declines despite recent fluctuations in recorded figures. CSEW estimates for violence with or without injury peaked at 4.5 million per incidence in 95, fell to 1.7 million by year ending March 2015, and stood at 1.1 million in year ending March 2025. Okay, so it's the same as it's lower than it was in 2025, and it's steady. 1.1 per million people in the UK are victims of violent crime. Police recorded violence against the person offenses, which include a broader range affected by improved recording practices since 2015, rose from lower levels around 2002 to 2003 to approximately 2.01 million in 2023-2024, and then went down to 1.94 per million in 2024 to 2025. So everything I'm seeing here says that violent crime is going down, and that it peaked in 95, and we're at nearly historic lows now. Everything you're finding says a rising. Well, where are your sources here? I'm looking at CSEW. I can pull up the source here. Office for National Statistics. Crime against individuals and households have generally decreased over the last 10 years, with some notable exceptions, such as sexual assault. However, there have been increases among some crime types in the latest reporting data. Around 9.4 million incidents of CSEW headline crime, a 7% increase compared with a March 2024 survey. What is headline crime? Oh, there it is. That's theft, robbery, criminal damage, fraud, computer misuse, and violence with or without injury. So that wouldn't be like most of this wouldn't be. Let's see, theft, robbery, criminal damage. Could be, yeah, that could be it could be gang related. Experience of domestic abuse, sexual assault, stalking, and harassment are presented separately as prevalence estimates. No statistical change. 7.8% of people 16 and over had experienced domestic abuse. That's domestic abuse. Police recorded crime does not tend to be a good indicator of general trends in crime. However, it can give more insight into lower volume, higher harm offenses that are reported to the police, including those that the survey doesn't cover. Homicides decreased by 6%. Offenses involving knives or sharp instruments decreased by 1%. Offenses involving firearms decreased by 21%. 3% decrease in robbery. Shoplifting, so shoplifting's up. Violent crime down. What source are you looking at? I'm looking at, this is ons.gov.uk, so this is their government source. Ban Frank Henderson. Every day you do this, Frank. Just ban Frank forever. He does the same thing. So what statistics do you want me to look at here? Nothing? Do you see how hard it is for you guys to prove your case here? If you're being honest, and I do believe that some of you are trolls. I think Sterlo's probably a troll, and I appreciate you being here, Sterlo. And trolls don't bother me nearly as much, but it should concern you that everything that you believe is a story and not the data. You know what I mean? Like, why is it so hard for you to accept that this guy lies to you all the time? I never have problems on Grindr. Shoplifting, I wonder why. Yeah, because people can't afford stuff. You know, every time you see a rise in shoplifting, you usually it correlates with wealth inequality. Almost always. Shoplifting, those types of crimes like petty theft, shoplifting, that goes up when people are more poor. But it should concern you. Maybe if you watch this show long enough, you'll figure out that they're lying to you.
London, you have a mayor named Khan. He's a horrible mayor. He's an incompetent mayor, but he's a horrible, vicious, disgusting mayor. I think.
Why? Seems like maybe it just has to do with him being Muslim. What did that say? If you look up countries with lowest crime and countries with lowest immigration, they do not match up. All right, let's look at that. Let's see. countries with, let's see, let's go Plexi. I've never done this before. Let's do top 10. Should we do top 10 or top 10 countries with the lowest crime? Do you want to do violent crime rates? Let's do violent. Make it specific here. Because that's really what we're worried about, right? Like, we're not worried about immigrants coming in here and running fraudulent MLMs. Okay. So, lowest homicide rates: Singapore, Oman, Malta, Macau, Slovenia, Switzerland, Ireland, Netherlands, Norway, Czech Republic, and Hungary. And let's see. Top 10 countries with lowest immigration rate. Oops. Gotta go Perplexity again. I can just go here. Don't tell me. Do other shows let you do this? Republicans, do other shows let you sit here and direct what we want to look up? I don't think so. What a place we've created here for you guys. You can come here in a safe place. It's gonna load. You get to come here and learn about stuff and fact check stuff. Isn't this fun? What's going on here? Perplexity's taking its sweet ass time. Let's see if I can find a different source here. All right, well, based from Google, we're saying Cuba, China, Vietnam on this list? No. Indonesia, they're not on that list. Madagascar, not on that list. Myanmar, not on that list. Haiti, not on that list. North Korea, not on that list. Sri Lanka, not on that list. Philippines, not on that list. Okay, so none of the top 10 match. So is it possible that that's a lie too? I need to get away. I need to learn about Ayn Rand and logic and get away from conspiracies. Ayn Rand literally is it's a fictional book. I read Atlas Shrugged. I was a Republican. And just like, I mean, that's the problem with you fucking Republicans, is that you think that fiction is how you should like base your entire political ideology. It's like the Bible and Ayn Rand, both of them works of fiction. And then you just want us to accept them as fact. No. Fiction, how's fiction? Well, I don't care about conspiracy. Who am I talking about conspiring here? I'm giving you facts. Like, is Donald Trump doing the bidding of these billionaires? Yeah, he sure is. I don't know. Read more Ayn Rand. That'll fix it. Stop making fictional books like your source of information and your source of ideology. Atlas Shrugged sucked, by the way. The dog shit book. Even when I was a Republican and everybody read it. And we read it, like our company read it. It's like, this book fucking sucks. We give them data and they're like, you should stop looking at data and read Atlas Shrugged instead. That's what you should do. Don't look at data. All right. I want to talk about some weird shit now. And Republicans, you should stick around for this because it's weird. What was this? Oh, Jen here. Tanya said, great show today. So thankful for you and Jen. Thank you, Tanya. Did I miss any here? Don't think I missed any there. My internet is being bizarre. Jen, thanks for joining the Dollar Train as well. All right, I don't know what to do with this, and I need your help. I saw this clip. There is something really weird about prominent conservatives and their marriages. Donald Trump's wife seems to want nothing to do with him. Mike Johnson's wife, if you watch the interview with Mike Johnson's wife, it was one of the most bizarre things ever. Like, he seemed completely repulsed by her. But I had never heard this story from Candace Owens and her husband. And her husband, I think, is one of the owners of Rumble. If you don't know the story of how Candace Owens got married, prepare yourself. This is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life.
Another episode of the Candace Owens Show, and this one is a wedding special. No, I'm not talking about William and Kate or Harry and Meghan. I'm talking about me. I am getting married this weekend, so we decided that we were going to make this a wedding special and introduce you guys to my fiance, future husband, George Farmer. Welcome to the Candace Owens Show. So just to give everybody context, we got engaged after 2.5 weeks, maybe?
I think it was about that time, yeah.
Right,
That's right, yeah.
right. Which
Did you know that? This British man, he was the chairman of Turning Point UK, Parler, not Rumble, I think. He was the CEO of Parler. Did you know that? 2.5 weeks? Guess what? It's going to get a lot more weird than that. I'm Mormon. Was Mormon. Grew up Mormon. There we go. There's a lot of, like there's a kind of a competition, like who gets married quicker, like Mormons or lesbians. And it's a fair argument. I don't know which one. I don't know who wins. I still think Mormons win. But even by Mormon standards, where people get married very quickly, the rest of this is really fucking weird.
is pretty crazy.
Yeah, whirlwind romance, I believe.
I know.
Whirlwind romance, they said. 2.5 weeks of whirlwind romance. And then we're going to take you to this interview that George Farmer did on apparently Milk Bar TV or NSTI, not sure, doing the conservative thing to like, we're real men, we smoke cigars in suits while we do interviews. It gets fucking weird.
Nothing romantic was said, you know, between that day and the day that we got engaged. Nothing romantic was said at all. You know, there was no overtures. Like we didn't go for dinner. Like we didn't take it. Nothing.
Send her flowers.
No, nothing. Yeah, nothing. Exactly. And so I was very clear about that, because it was almost like getting to know oneself in some ways. It was kind of a very strange experience. You know, it was like I saw myself in her, and in doing so, and that sounds sort of, well, I fell in love with myself. No, I didn't fall in love with her. I fell in love.
That's a good point. Remember how Charlie Kirk basically met somebody one time, was like, we're getting married, and they got married? Remember that? There's a lot of people accusing a lot of these conservative men of being gay, despite the fact that they're married. Benny Johnson, one of them. Michael Knowles, one of them. There's even been some accusations now that Charlie Kirk was gay. But this is just, I'll let it keep going. It's fucking weird. Now, I'm not worried about someone's love life. I'm not worried about anybody's love life. I'm worried about the people that you're putting in charge. This isn't love life.
Love with a woman who gave so much of myself back to me, you know, and I kind of, I was very willing to let myself fade and give glory to her. You know, that's how I view our marriage in many ways. Like I'm very happy to take a secondary position to give glory to her.
Nothing had been said. Like there had been no romantic overtures at all at any of this point. It had all just been very kind of above board and talking about politics and engaging in kind of philosophical conversations. And then at the end of December, we started. I called her a couple of times just to kind of chat. And again, you know, just had
2.5 weeks. We've not talked romantically. We're not dating. We're just talking on the phone, getting to know each other for 2.5 weeks.
These long, like prolonged conversations, which were mainly about politics and trying to understand what she wanted to do in life. And at the end of December, I was actually flying to South Africa at the time.
Candace is married. This is a throwback. This isn't like recent news. This is from a few years ago when Candace got married. I don't know what year she got married, but this isn't happening in real time.
For New Year's, and I called her and I just said, listen, I know this is completely crazy and we've just met, but how do you feel about getting married to me?
Just real quick. I missed the bit where there was any sort of
There was literally nothing romantic had been said up to this point.
Okay.
I mean, literally nothing.
So, okay, so I missed nothing.
We hadn't gone on a date. We had not talked about marriage or the future or anything like that.
All right.
And and she said yes.
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
She did.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, she.
You're making it up.
I love our story. I think it's an incredible story. I mean, like, how many people can say that?
I know, not many people
can say that.
And
right?
most people are overthinking it. I know girls that are in these sort of tragedy of relationships, 10 years, 10 plus years,
Yeah,
break up galore 17,000 times. Then they finally, get the ring, and that's supposed to be a celebration. Great. If it's what you want.
Right? Like, I hate throwing it out there. I don't want to be judgmental, but like, what is this marriage? What is this? He's like, we talked about politics and what her goals in life were. And I was like, you should just get married. Sign the contract.
Mine just happened in a different way.
Yeah. I had to show that because I couldn't watch that alone. I watched it and I don't know what to do with anything we just watched. I have no idea. I don't have any commentary really to add to that. I just didn't want to be the only one watching that. I don't. What do we do about that? How are you processing this right now? I mean, it's just the whole thing. It's just a fucking cult. And now Candace Owens is like, she's doing some. First of all, Tim Pool called her pretty awful words the other day. And there's this civil war between her and Tim Pool. And now she's talking to her millions of followers after these multiple investigations into whether or not Macron's wife used to be his dad, I think. Whether the fake investigation into where Kamala Harris's parents were from. And now that her claim that Charlie Kirk was unalived by Turning Point USA. Now we're going straight like, I have dreams. Now we're just into the cult area where now she's telling her fans that like she's having apocalyptic dreams. I'm bringing this up because this is the #1 podcaster on the right. This is who's getting the most views. And now she's talking about her dreams, her apocalyptic dreams.
I feel it now. I've been telling you guys, I have been having a lot of dreams. And the dread that Charlie felt in 2018, I have been feeling. I felt it leading up to Charlie's assassination. I pulled my children out of school. I was having this dreams and visions about bees and organization that was happening in America.
About bees? What is going on? This only works if the people that watch your show are like comfortable and used to being in a cult without knowing they're in a cult. This only isn't weird if you're already in a cult. If you're in a cult, though, you're like, oh, yeah, this is normal. But for those of us who've either left a cult or who've never been in one, it's like, what the fuck is this? But to them, they're like, oh, this makes sense. Yeah, no, this makes sense that she would be talking about her dreams. We should listen up now and figure out what her dreams mean. Maybe we'll watch Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat for our next movie night, which I can also sing all the words to. Just I don't feel proud of that one so much.
I have a sense of dread that a lot of these events that are happening, these inexplicable events like the Malibu fires, these sort of coastal events, the Texas floods, that this is not happening by accident. Okay, I have a...
Not Maverick in here defending Tim Pool.
He's not an idiot, guys. He's actually really smart if you watch him. Yeah, he says all the things that I think. That's how I know he's so smart.
Tim Pool is a paid propagandist who isn't terribly good at being a propagandist. But again, like he just has an audience of you, Maverick, a bunch of people who want to hear what they want to hear. And Tim Pool says it. And then you're like, he's independent. He says that he's independent. That means that my thoughts are correct.
Feeling of a sense of dread that the Fed is taking from Americans right now, and that we are heading toward war. Okay? I'm going to share that. I feel that we are headed toward war, that they want war by any means necessary, and that you need...
Who's they? Who the fuck? Who is the they? Is it Turning Point USA? Is it Israel? I don't even think she's talking about us anymore. She used to think she was going to war with us. I don't even think we're involved in this war. I have no idea who she's talking about. But a war is coming, and this is your number one person. This is the best you guys have over there right now.
To be wherever you are in the world, fully dialed into that. Okay? We can't be stupid this time. We cannot believe what the media is telling us. We cannot believe what the government are telling us. We cannot believe whatever it is, whatever attack that's going to happen, and we're going to be told that it was this guy. We have to start to recognize the pattern of things, okay?
Yeah.
The predictive model of this is my red line, then the red line gets crossed and people are denying it. And what happens? Christians are mass slaughtered every single time. Propagandize people.
What? What the fuck are we talking about over here on the right? What the fuck are you guys? What's going on over there? Are you guys all like mass psychosis? What's going on over there? They're going to kill all the Christians? Who? Who is going to kill all the Christians? Don't do that. Hey, if you're out there and you're thinking, I'm gonna take out the, don't do that. But like history somebody said it. History tells us it's not usually it's usually the Christians doing, at least recent history tells us the Christians are doing the slaughtering.
People, Christians in the East, to hate Christians in the West, and there's just less of us by the end of it. And these things tend to happen, world wars, when they want a reset because people start waking up. And so I just wanted to express that to you, that I feel that we are reaching that brink right now. And
yeah, you know what's interesting about all of this is that she's having these dreams and she's like, historically we have wars when we want to reset, and it's like when the money is all consolidated in the hands of a few and we need a reset because there's all this debt. And we have the United States threatening to go to war with Venezuela for oil, which is what we did last time we needed a reset, but we went to Iraq. I'm going to cut in. I wasn't going to show this because I think we're going to have to edit this out, so Jen be aware of it. But like, it should be pretty obvious what's happening right now with Venezuela, and it should be obvious because it's in almost every way. It's a repeat of what happened in Iraq. Let me see if I can find this clip. Did I save it? Is this it? No. This might be it.
But I know what.
Oh, this was the clip the whole time. Oh, wait, let me go back. Sorry, I kept seeing this clip and I didn't think it was the right one.
Is doing. They're convincing us that Iraq was an entirely different set of circumstances. That country was led by a sword-wielding, mustachioed madman who held an iron grip on his people and his power. Nicolas Maduro is nothing like... Oh, shit.
Did we really get Saddam? Is he just Maduro? That's the same guy.
Well, look, I'm sure a lot of leaders use the same sword guy. Superficial coincidence. Same sword, same mustache. I'm sure they wear different hats. It's not a kind of a, oh, boy.
Nothing to see here.
All right. So the two dictators share a remarkably similar taste in facial hair, body shape, ceremonial sabers, and headgear. It doesn't mean that the pretext for the wars will be the same.
That drugged-out dinghy was a floating weapon of mass destruction.
Every boat carrying fentanyl and drugs in this country is a weapon of mass destruction.
Are you f***ing kidding me right now?
You guys are Dick Cheney. MAGA. You're not MAGA anymore. We're going to start calling you Dick Cheney Republicans. And Candace is so close. She's so close. She's like, there's this war. I feel it. It's coming. This all feels so familiar to me. I can't quite get a grasp on what's happening. We had this .com bubble, and then we had like a pending economic collapse, and then we went to war. And I can't. That feels like it. they're probably coming for the Christians. Like, she's so close.
You guys have the balls to tell us that the pretext for Iraq was bullshit and that war was a mistake, and we're not like that. And also, Venezuela has weapons of mass destruction and we have to stop them. Or is WMD just the new slang? Like, yo, bro, Venezuela's total WMD 6'7", what's up? Like, is that what we're doing? And for those of you who are like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that all the fentanyl in the U.S. comes from Venezuela, that's because it doesn't. Like, almost none of it. Like, none of it. Look, you know what?
I'm just that's like, she's so close. And Republicans, you're so close. And all it takes for you, and I'm fucking begging you. Thanks, Leanne said, starting a $5 train due to inflation. Valerie said, happy holidays. Amy Lynn said, did you see the movie Snake Eyes was partially filmed at Trump's casino? The political character Charles Kirkland was beeped by Lincoln Tyler. Coincidence? Also saying in the movie is not to believe your eyes or something. Had to share. I didn't know that. Valerie, also thanks for the super chat. But like, we're there, Republicans. You're so fucking close. All it takes is just the tiniest morsel of courage. Reach in there, find it somewhere inside of you. There is this morsel of courage. And all that morsel of courage is trying to get you to do is admit that Donald Trump is a fucking moron. We got dragged into Iraq because Bush was dumb, and Trump is a dumber version, a way dumber, way more corrupt version of Bush. He's dumb. Dumb as a fucking rock, dumb. His professor said he is the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. He won't release his transcripts from elementary school, from high school, from the military academy that he was sent to because his parents thought he was a little prick and they didn't want to hug him and teach him, so they sent him to military school instead, and we can't have those transcripts. And everybody who's ever done business with him is like, you know what's crazy about him? He's really fucking dumb, but he's corrupt and he lies all the time and he has a camera in front of his face so people don't realize that he's fucking dumb. And all you have to do is get to the point where you can see Donald Trump is a dumb guy, and then it all will make sense that, holy fucking shit, we're doing it again. We're doing the same goddamn thing we did before. And if you want to prop up our economy that is bullshit, a really good way to prop up the economy when it's fraudulent and get the American people on your side is to scare them about Muslims and scare them about terrorism and talk about democracy and talk about immigration, because that's exactly what they did. Bush ran on this shit. For the love of God, recognize when you're seeing a rerun and or a remake. And the remake is never, ever as good as the original. This is a shittier version of what we already did with George Bush. We've already done it. We learned from it. Trump campaigned on, you dumb motherfuckers, you let Bush do that thing. And now he's doing that thing. And the only thing separating you from the other dipshits is your worship of Donald Trump. And the second you let that facade fall for 1 second and realize that Donald Trump is a fucking blowhard dipshit, then you'll see everything else for what it is. We had Tim Pool, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro. They used to be named Tucker Carlson, Bill O'Reilly. Who was that other guy that was not Brit Hume. Even some of the guys are still the same. The Mark Levin, Rush Limbaugh. Like, these are just the new version, the propagandists, the ones that are clearly paid to just worship the right. And they're dragging you into another war. And they're doing it by convincing you that, like, brown people are scary and that they're coming here to attack us. And if we don't preemptively attack them, then we're all fucked. And what's going to happen is we'll go into like a decades-long war. We'll prop up the military-industrial complex. All the oil companies will go in and get these contracts with both Venezuela and Russia now for some reason. And a bunch of people will get filthy fucking rich. And 20 years from now, all of you will be like, that was a mistake. And I never supported that mistake. And then some dipshit will come along that's rich like Trump, that's a blowhard. And he'll be like, I was against the war in Venezuela. And you'll be like, me too. I love you. And then he'll be like, but you know what the real fucking problem is? Immigrants. The immigrants are the problem. And you'll be like, yeah, it is the immigrants. And then he'll be like, we better declare war on this country where immigrants are coming from. And you'll be like, yeah, we got to do it. And then they'll go to war and they'll take the oil or the resources. And 20 years later, your kids will be like, I didn't agree with that war. And then some dipshit will be like, I didn't agree with it either, but you know who the problem are? It's the fucking immigrants. And you'll be like, yeah, and your kids will go, yeah, and we'll keep doing this shit until you guys learn that it's the same trick every time. And you're the same dumb fucks that get, like, the dumb fucks that are dead now that got tricked, that you're all like, those guys were dumb. You're them. You're the dumb fucks now. You're the ones that buy into propaganda, that get scared of immigrants and brown people all the time. And so you just hand over the power to the government. Here you go. I didn't really want any rights anyways. Yeah, I didn't mean all that not war stuff. I'm scared of immigrants. They're coming after me because I believe in Jesus. So we better go steal their oil. Don't be the same dumb fucks. You would have dragged our ass into Vietnam. You would have dragged our ass into Desert Storm. You would have dragged our ass into Iraq and Afghanistan. You would have done all of these things that we can look back with clarity and say those were mistakes. You haven't learned the lesson. And the only reason you haven't learned the lesson is because you think Republicans are right. Oh, we're not like those Republicans. We're the new kind of Republicans who put America first by yelling at immigrants and invading other countries. And then guess what's going to happen? If we go to war with Venezuela, we're going to decimate not only their country, but the countries around them. And then after that, when we all realize that we fucked up, you and I are all going to come together and we're going to say, you know what? We did fuck up and we destroyed South America. And so we're going to provide some aid to South America to help them rebuild. And we're all going to feel good about that. And we're like, oh, washed our hands clean of that. And then after like 10, 15, 20 years, you same dumb fucks are going to be like, why are we giving all this money to these foreign countries? What about us? I'm tired of giving money to foreign countries. Fuck them. And we're going to take their money, and then their countries are going to collapse, and then immigrants are going to come to America, and then we'll be like, what? No, not immigrants again. We need to invade. We're under attack. White Christian Americans are under attack by people who hate our very existence. And then we're back to war. Learn a fucking lesson. Like one goddamn time, learn a lesson, please. Just like once. It's on repeat. Like, you can't be surprised every time. Not every, I can't believe Rocky pulled it off again. I didn't see that coming. Can't believe it happened. Yeah, bro, you watched the same movie 12 times. My dad used to make this joke. We used to watch, my favorite movie ever is the movie Hoosiers. And before every basketball game, the night before, I would watch Hoosiers. And my dad would watch Hoosiers with me. And every goddamn time, he did two things. There's a kiss in Hoosiers where Gene Hackman kisses whoever the lady is. And my dad would go, woo! Jimmy John, right under the nose, as they kissed. Every time. And then at the end, the movie would end and he'd get up and he'd get going to bed and he'd go, hot dang, they did it again. I didn't think they'd win this time. It was a fun little joke. It was a fun little joke that we had that of course they did because it's a rerun. And you guys are incapable of realizing that it's a rerun. It's like you have amnesia every goddamn time. There is nothing different about what we're doing now than what we did then. Please, you do not need to be a dipshit for Donald Trump. There's plenty of other dipshits that will do the dipshittery. You guys can wake the fuck up and realize that we're just going down the same road. Corvette said Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are on a boat. They both fall off. Who gets saved? America. That's deep. Valerie said, I believe JFK was assassinated because he wanted out of Vietnam and giving back South America and Latin America their sovereignty. Almost certainly that's what happened. Almost certainly. Say it, Chris. He said, do these people understand when we become Russia 2.0, there's no getting it back? Once you give up power, it's almost impossible to get it back. That's okay. No, they don't. That's the problem. There's no ability for conservatives to look into the future because they're so distracted with the past. They're so obsessed with going back to how things were when they thought things were better that they never pay attention to the future. You know why it seems like life was better when you were a kid? Because you were a fucking kid. That's why. Being a kid's fucking great. My daughter doesn't have a goddamn care in the world. We took both my dogs for a walk yesterday, and we went riding on the scooter, and I'm just like stressing about like a Christmas is coming up. I have bills to pay. She got a cavity. Now I got to pay for a cavity for some dental work. And it was cool. She didn't have to worry about any of that. That's why you think things were better when you were younger, because it was easier. Stop staring at the past and just look a little bit into the future and start thinking about what are the impacts that these types of policies are going to have on me and this country and my children and my family. You have to start looking forward, but that is the difference between Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and progressives. Progressives look forward and project into the future and want things to be better, and conservatives look behind them in the past and go, I wish things were like they used to be. I remember when Trump was president, my knees didn't hurt. Yeah, that was 5 years ago. You're 5 years older now. I remember when gas prices were cheaper under Trump. Yeah, because prices always go up. So no matter who the president was 5 years ago, prices are going to be lower. You're realizing, like, some of you should realize that now, because Trump said, I'm going to lower prices, and he didn't lower prices. The prices are higher now than when he took office. And some of you should probably be figuring out, oh, I think that's what inflation is. So if we have 2 to 3% inflation every year, then whoever the president is currently will have higher prices than the president previously. And maybe that's not about who the president is. Maybe it's just a dumb trick that they used on me so that I would vote for Trump again. They just told me that, prices were lower, so they'll return there. Just stop worrying about other people, that look different than you, and stop looking to the past. Look forward. This is not a direction that we want to go. It doesn't benefit us. It would be dope if you guys would wake up. Christina said, here's $2 for the best show ever. Thank you very much, Christina. Appreciate that. Let me check with Jen, too. Got Tanya's. Brian said nothing. I don't see a message there, but thank you, Brian. I'll finish up with Candace here.
You need to prepare for that. And feels like an almost inevitability. It feels like something's coming. And I know that you probably sense that dread too. I pulled my children out of school. I was having this.
I'm done with Candace. That thing that you're feeling is like, there is a memory there, but that thing that you're feeling is the country going to war for no fucking reason. And I want to talk about another wife, and I've been pretty quiet about her for the most part, but it's hard to be quiet about this anymore. It's hard for me to look at what Erica Kirk is doing and say, like, this is a grieving widow. Everybody grieves differently. Hers is weird. It's a little too convenient that Charlie Kirk had a book that I don't remember him talking about coming out, that's suddenly coming out, and he died. And now Erica's out there promoting his book. Did you know that she was given $10 million? Remember when Charlie Kirk died and they put up a GoFundMe? What the fuck was that for? And she got $10 million. Do you guys raise your hand if you watched Breaking Bad? She was pregnant with Charlie's book when he died. Raise your hand if you've watched Breaking Bad. There's a part in Breaking Bad where Walter is making way too much money, and he goes to Saul and he's trying to figure out how to launder this money, and they're like, "Fuck, we can buy a business." Like, there's just too much money to launder, and then Saul figures out that Walter's kid had set up it's not a GoFundMe, but like a GoFundMe adjacent program where people all over the country can send money to Walter to pay for his cancer treatment, and it's getting no donations. And then all of a sudden, his kid's like, holy shit, Dad, look at all these people. And they created all these accounts to funnel money.
right? Do you get what I'm saying here? Like, it's fishy. It's fishy that she got $10 million. It's fishy that a GoFundMe went up immediately for a multi-millionaire. They lived in a $7 million mansion in Arizona. Charlie Kirk was bringing in millions of dollars. He had been from book sales to speaking tours to Turning Point USA, and she got the reins of Turning Point USA. Why the fuck did she get $10 million? And like, it's not fishy? I'm not making a claim. I'm just saying it's weird. It's weird that she got $10 million in a GoFundMe account. I'm not sure what that money was for. And now she's out. I'm just saying, that's weird, right? I swear to God, every time we talk about anything Israel adjacent, every time. Jen, what are you doing? What are you doing? Moving furniture?
I put the phone down that I used to talk to you on. Shut up.